From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blerds. Blerd powers unite. Engage.
Nice. How we are. Hey, what happened? No, what were you saying? Mm-hmm. Ah, nice.
I forget what the other one was.
Yeah, so summer
Cool.
sale, spring
Yeah.
sale. Yeah,
All
summer
Oh
right.
sale,
yeah.
spring sale.
You
Get
got a
stuff for
pretty,
$4.
you got a pretty good bundle
Oh,
there.
yeah.
You got a pretty
Mhm.
good bundle there. All
Yeah.
right. What's going on, Geeks and Blerds? Welcome to another episode of Council of the Blerds. I'm your host, Kendrick Grey, the Dreadlock Blerd, and the whole council is here today.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's definitely that. Um, Today's show again is kind of keeping continuity of what we've been talking about over the past couple of weeks or so. But before we begin, please let us know if you can hear all of us clearly. Please let us know if there's any breaks in our stream so we can quickly take care of that. Hopefully, we'll get a full stream today. Hopefully, we won't get disconnected like we got disconnected the last two streams, which is I don't know if it's too hot. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's going on. But hopefully, we'll have a stream today with no problem. So please, for the love of God, let us have a full length stream. And please let us know if you guys can hear us all clearly. Please just let us know. Just post in the comments and let us know. As the title of this show is, we're going to be talking about, I put the best and worst moments in movies. We could probably stick with the best. Depends on how many best moments we all have and how many of you guys share. I didn't do worst, actually. I only did best, so it will probably just be the best moments in movies that excited you. And, of course, this is kind of before the advent of like people doing reaction videos to like just full on movies, like people who like do like audience reactions and stuff to like movies. Like you've seen a lot of them for the MCU or like other very highly anticipated movies and stuff. You've seen people do audience reaction videos to that. This isn't that. This is just us talking about just certain movies and certain scenes in certain movies that we just happen to really like that got us really excited. So I put my list together. I know we kind of made this thing up as we went along, but a lot of these things are going to come back to us anyway because between all of us, we've seen a great deal of movies. So and of course, those of you guys who are watching us and are participating in the chats, feel free to share your moments as well. Whatever movie scene really got you amped while you were watching it, share it with us. It might coincide with some of ours. So, all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't know who wants to go first.
Not it.
You know what? I rarely go first. So I'm gonna think I'll be the one to go first. I'm gonna be the one that goes first, actually. So, like I said, I'd actually incorporated majority of these things are movies, but I actually incorporated some anime and some video games. But I'm gonna save the animes and video games for last, depending on how much time we have. But I'm gonna start with movies. In fact, I'm gonna start from the lower number to number one. So my first scene that I really enjoyed was the Super Burly Brawl from the Matrix Revolutions. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I didn't really pay. I mean, I paid attention to the Matrix Revolutions, but only so it can get me to the end. Only so it can get me to the final battle between Neo and Agent Smith. That's really at this point all I cared about. You know, everything in the Matrix Reloaded was cool, even though it was very action oriented. It wasn't like the philosophical, triumph that we got with the first movie. The Matrix Revolutions tried to get back to that, but it might have been a little bit heavy-handed, kind of. I mean, that's just my opinion. But at the end, and this really came from watching the trailers and stuff, watching the trailers for the Matrix Revolutions and seeing what the final battle was going to be like. I was like, I got to see that. And really, the only time I perked up watching the movie was when the final battle was getting ready to start. Watching Neo and Smith engage in a basically Dragon Ball Z-like battle was something that, a lot of movies didn't really do. Like save for Man of Steel that came out years later. A lot of other movies didn't really do fight scenes like that, especially between two superpowered individuals like Neo and Smith. So I got a kick out of watching it. It was, again, they touted the Matrix trilogy as being like a live action anime come to life, basically. So that's what really, got me into that movie. I mean, when I pop the movie in, I'll just fast forward to that part, really. That's really the only thing I'll fast forward to. Like, I'll watch other aspects and stuff, but it's the final fight that I just automatically jump to. The next one I have on my list is from the one with Jet Li, and it's actually the final scene of the movie. Is where the evil Jet Li, Yula, finally gets sent to the Stygian penal colony, and he's walking up the pyramid, and he's saying, "I'm Yula, I'm nobody's bitch, you are mine." And it's like, we spent years watching Jet Li movies. Jet Li's English wasn't always that great, consider his English in Romeo Must Die and Cradle to the Grave or what, a lot of those other movies. But like, it could have been ADR. I'm not quite sure. They probably could have helped him get his words out better, like later on after the movie was completed. But that scene is probably the one scene that I think a lot of people tend to enjoy the most, because like he's walking up a pyramid, he's talking trash, and then he just spends the whole rest of the movie, or at least until the credits start rolling, just fighting off criminals, like on top of a pyramid, just like knocking them off. And to me, I mean, I never saw this movie in the movie theaters. I didn't see it until I bought the DVD. So when I saw that scene the first time, I was geeking out because, it's Jet Li. Jet Li was like my man. Well, Jet Li is still my man, but at the time he was like, they were like putting him in like everything at the time. So when I saw that scene, I really enjoyed that scene a great deal. Next one that really got me excited, and I saw this in the movie theaters like 3 times, was the light cycle battle in Tron Legacy.
Yes.
Like the light cycle, I call it light cycle 2.0. That, the visuals, just the whole setup, and the whole scene in general. Like, I remember the light cycle from the original Tron, and I was like, this is really dope. But just to see with updated graphics and just the story behind it, I enjoyed it a great deal. Like the light cycle battle in Tron Legacy is so amazing. That is like,
man.
That was really what got me, because a lot of that journey, a lot of that, that heavy. Oh my goodness.
Even the setup to it, like with Clue bringing his ship down and coming down those stairs, and I forgot that guy's name who was like his announcer, like announcing Clue stepping onto the gaming grid. Is like, this is fantastic, and people who hate Tron Legacy, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
I know, right?
Like honestly, you really should be ashamed of yourselves. Like Tron Legacy is definitely one of those movies. Like,
even the reveal that Tron has gone rogue is like,
yes,
right.
That was the biggest thing. It was like, wait a second, that's Tron.
And I was gonna include that scene also, that the reveal that like Rinsler was actually Tron. I was like,
and you're like,
the symbol on his chest gave it away. Like, wait a minute.
It took a minute, maybe, because what I thought, I legitimately thought, because everything was light and dark pretty much in there. I thought it was a clone of a clone. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe they cloned Tron.
Right.
And that was just his bad clone. And I'm like, no, that's Tron. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, like, wait, hold on. And the fact that he ends up helping in the end is like, what, like that, all that movie, that entire movie was, I think it was very, very well executed.
It really was.
Very well executed.
It really was well
answered
executed.
Every question.
Yeah.
So every question you had in there, it answered the question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I definitely love that movie. I mean, I can watch a movie 20 times over.
Yeah. The next one I got is the Nightcrawler attack in X-Men 2 when he attacks the White House. I remember seeing that in the movie theaters and thinking to myself, holy crap, this is amazing. And, you know, up until that point, we didn't really, I mean, you had teleporters in movies, but it was always like a blip, like in and out. So it's like, you think of a character like Nightcrawler who teleports and leaves a trail of like, you know, brimstone and smoke left behind him. So the whole scene is choreographed very well. It's like, I think everybody in the movie theater was like really into that scene when they first saw it. Just watching Nightcrawler just like subdue Secret Service and just like continuously teleport in and out in different parts of the White House. And then the whole scene in the Oval Office where he's just kicking and like flip kicking, hooking off on all these different Secret Service agents. And it's like, this is brilliant. This is why X2 is still one of my favorite X-Men movies. So that was one. Like, there's a good amount of scenes in that movie that I like, but the Nightcrawler scene, that was a good opener for a movie like that. The next one I got is Hello Zep from Saw. Like, now, granted, we've had plot twists in movies before. M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong is the king of those, apparently. But, you know, the twist at the end of the first Saw still gets me. I saw that in the movie theaters, you know, and I'm watching, you know, Carrie Elwes' character crawl out of the cell that they were in. The other guy who was searching for the tape recorder, and he listens to it, and then you see the Jigsaw killer actually stand up and start walking out. I was like, what the hell is happening here? What is going on? And then the music sold the music was the best part of it. The music sold the whole thing. And then the fact that when he closed the door and said game over, that the fact that the other character was like still screaming, and I was like, this is the greatest horror movie I've ever seen in my life.
All of that, because the original Saw is always going to be the best Saw.
Yeah.
It's always going to be the best, and that's because we were not expecting that at all. Like, who was expecting the Saw off that? Like legitimately, it was the Saw. Yeah. Like, come on now.
Yeah, like, exactly.
I'm like we're just thinking like, when we're not thinking, no. That movie, I think, a lot of that, even the traps in that movie it took me back. That's, I think, the brilliance of Saw is that the ability to come up with all those traps.
Yeah.
Somebody is sick and sadistic, and I love it.
Yeah. Like, it eventually came to a point for me that every Saw movie that came out, I was like, okay, what's going to be the plot twist now? What's going to happen? But
I wasn't even worried about the plot twist. I was worried about the next trap. Like, I think my favorite trap in a Saw movie, and this is going to throw us off a little bit, was the one with the girl with the needles.
That was disturbing. Yeah. Like, the fact that she got thrown into a pit of needles is like, are you...
Yeah, I felt all of that.
What would you say, which one had the best traps out of all the movies? And I've seen them all. I've seen all the Saw movies.
Oh, that's a hard one.
I only saw the first two. I refused to watch the rest of them.
The last one has some good traps in it, too.
Jigsaw?
Yeah, Jigsaw has some good traps in it.
I was telling Tony that Jigsaw is actually pretty good.
I know, but I can't bring myself to watch the rest of them. I'm like,
they're hard. I like horror and everything, but that's just hard.
After like 1 and 2, you don't watch it for the plot anymore. You
just watch for the traps. Yeah. Like, I can't tell you. I don't remember a thing about Saw 7. Like the final. I don't remember a thing about it, and I saw that in the movie theater.
That's the thing, though. It was like it got to a point where. For me, it got to a point where, all right, how many traps are you going to do? So I think I just got bored with it.
I give them credit for getting... I give them credit for being very creative with a lot of the traps for the Saw franchise.
Traps are the best part of that. I mean, the jaw trap was the one I think that really like that one scared the life out of me though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I probably would have had my jaw snapped open.
I think
I wouldn't have been that cool.
The one trap that really got me might have been in Saw 3. And that was like the final trap before he got to Jigsaw. And that's where that guy was in, like, I think they call it the rack.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
He had all his limbs like twisted, and I'm like, dude. And then the final part was his head. I'm like, yo, this is not cool. Totally not cool.
Right.
I mean, it's like, I mean, again, it's just the best.
I don't know. Maybe I'll do a Cliff's Note. Maybe I'll do a Cliff's Notes version. I'm pretty sure somebody has posted the best or worst traps on Saw, and I'll just watch them all in succession.
Actually, I just
watch every trap in Saw. Let's see if somebody has.
You can just do that.
Every trap in Saw. Wow.
You can really just do that. You can just go to YouTube and look up every single trap in the Saw franchise. Like I just remember.
Somebody did it.
I just remembered one.
I'm looking it up right now.
I just remembered one trap in Saw 3, and that was the one where the girl was like tied up and she kept getting sprayed with ice water and she eventually got frozen over.
I have one that was made 2 years ago. It's 30 minutes long.
Wow.
30-minute long movie.
That's it. Wow. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because I have 5-6 movies I'd have to catch up on. I'm not doing that.
I'm like, oh, that's But I have to admit, Jigsaw had some really good story, and it actually had a pretty decent story to it. That was one of the benefits to that one. I actually sat down and watched the entire thing. Yeah,
and that was the thing about Jigsaw. I was like, I started watching, I was like, okay, let me see what it's about. But like the story
plays out like a game.
Yeah.
It plays out like a game. I'm like the first 2 films played out like a game, and then I have to admit I got like halfway through 3, and then I kind of fell off, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like
I think that's what happened to me. I think I did watch a little bit of 3, and then I'm like, I'm bored.
So. That's like Resident Evil. How many Resident Evils can you play before you get bored?
Yeah. The movies didn't help.
I think I watched almost all of the Resident Evils, and then the thing is, the same thing happened to me for Final Destination. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, I like these movies, but how many are you actually going to do?
I stopped. Yeah. I think after what was it? I think after Afterlife. I think after Resident Evil Afterlife, I was like, okay, I'm done. No more.
Yeah, I got suckered into all of them.
I saw the second one after that. I couldn't watch any.
I saw 1 and 2. I saw some of 2. I didn't see 3. I saw Afterlife in the movie theaters because I don't know, but after that I was like, nope, I don't need to do this anymore.
Is that the one with Ashanti in it? What was the one that had Ashanti in it?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I think I saw that one on TV.
That was Afterlife. I think that was
that's the one. That's the only other one I watched. I think that was
because the one I saw was like it was like a whole
funny.
It was a whole bunch of Alice clones. They were okay, I was like, okay, no.
And then the one after that, the Alice clones attacking this building. They were losing, and
that's the one I saw. I saw that one.
Wow, I don't remember any of that.
That's the one I saw. I saw that one.
I must have fell off at that point.
Because I think that one. I think that's at the end where they fought Wesker at the end, and they did a shot for shot remake of the battle in the game. They literally took the battle from the game and did a shot for shot remake for the movie. I was like, are you kidding me right now?
I missed a lot in between. I missed a lot in between the Resident Evils. I remember there was like it's so much. It's kind of all mixing. I think there was one that was like they had like Umbrella in Japan.
They all mix together. They really do.
It was just too much. And I got to the point like.
Let this COVID-19 thing end and just make a damn series.
They really just need to do that, honestly.
Hey, filming is back up and running for a lot of folks. You know, that's where I was last week. So,
awesome, do it.
But I'm waiting for my series from Netflix. I'm tired of y'all Netflix. We keep telling y'all make that Florida Man series. I need to see it. I need some hilarity in my life. I need a whole series on Florida.
I'm just upset that Netflix pushed back Black Mirror because of what's going on right now. I'm like, why?
We live in Black Mirror. Like, come on.
I'm surprised they're putting out another one. The last series is horrible.
I actually didn't mind the last season. I thought it was okay. I think the best one I enjoyed might have been the Miley Cyrus episode. I think I enjoyed that one the most.
Yeah, I actually surprisingly really liked that one.
I did not like last season at all. I couldn't stand it.
I didn't like Bandersnatch. I couldn't finish it.
Bandersnatch I had fun with. I had fun with Bandersnatch.
I couldn't finish it.
You know how many endings I've seen in Bandersnatch?
I've played that so many times. It's Bandersnatch is great. Okay,
that was fun.
I could not finish it.
Bandersnatch is fantastic.
So many endings. It's not even funny. I have sat down and played out. I made a flow chart.
Oh my God.
You too?
I made a flow chart. It was killing me. I had to.
Oh my God.
Stop judging me.
Off topic.
Oh,
I did like the promos for Black Mirror, the Black Mirror season that's never happening. Basically, it was just a picture of you in the mirror.
Okay.
That was the ad. It was a mirror, so that when you looked at it and it just said you're in it. You're in Black Mirror.
Oh damn.
Just to break away from my list real quick, I just want to read some of the comments. Daryl has, he has
he has a bunch. He wrote, I was gonna wait for that too. He has a lot of them out there.
We can go through them real quick because I got a few more on my list. He says Morbius revealed in vampire form. I wish we got another trailer, honestly, for Morbius. Like I'd like to see another one.
Yeah.
Huh?
I believe supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, it's coming out next year.
Right.
The Autobots Fighting the Fallen and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. The only real thing I liked about Transformers Revenge of the Fallen was when Optimus came back. That was my favorite thing. When he came back and he got all those like other add-ons from the
those upgrades,
yeah, those upgrades and stuff. I enjoyed that part. And I think my favorite part in Revenge of the Fallen was when he ripped off his face. When he ripped off the Fallen's face, I was like, in my head, I went fatality. In my head, because that was the best part. I think that
was a Mark Wahlberg one, right?
No, that's Mark Wahlberg was in what the hell was that?
Age of Extinction.
Age of Extinction. God, that movie. He was in Age of Extinction and The Last Night. Good God, that last Transformers movie was horrible. Bumblebee was great. Bumblebee was great.
Bumblebee was great. I love Bumblebee.
Oh, that was great.
I love Bumblebee. Bumblebee was so amazing. I don't know how many times I watched that. He said the ninja duel between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and the Rise of the Cobra.
I liked the ninja duel they had when they were kids. Like in on G.I. Joe, the Rise of Cobra, when the fight that they showed, like when they were kids and they had that little battle between each other, I enjoyed that. But everything else about G.I. Joe, I was never a big G.I. Joe fan anyway, so it was like,
Right.
He said the one in between Snake Eyes and Jinx fighting the Red Ninja Clan and G.I. Joe Retaliation. I don't even know. I've never seen G.I. Joe.
I didn't like the fact that they literally switched out Channing Tatum for The Rock. I didn't like that.
Maybe I
saw Retaliation, but like I wasn't really big on it. So he said the trailer for Terminator Salvation of them showing John Connor and Marcus Wright teaming up against Skynet. I own Terminator Salvation. I thought the premise of it was good. I thought we were finally going to get the future war that they've been talking about. I didn't like the fact that John Connor basically played second fiddle. I didn't like that. Like they put all the attention on Marcus Wright. I think if they had put the focus on John Connor, I think Terminator Salvation would have did a lot better.
Yeah.
Kendrick, check the live real quick.
Wow, what's up? What's it saying?
I think it's okay. Never mind. It went back up. Never mind. It stopped. It went back up.
Huh?
It stopped for a minute, but it went back up. You're good.
Okay. What else? The whole fighting the Abomination in Harlem. That was a cool fight, but didn't like super excite me or anything like that. The only time I get excited when the Hulk roared in the movie. That was it. Anytime the Hulk roared in the movie, I got sued. That was it. But other than that,
I don't know what that is.
Blue Assassins, I didn't even finish that.
First of all, I did finish it, and I can't wait to see it.
I gotta finish. I started watching Warrior Nun 2, so it's like there's a whole bunch of shows I'm like in the beginning stages of that I gotta finish.
I can't even wrap my head around Warrior Nun, so I don't think I'll watch it.
I'm trying to figure it out too. It's like one of my old English teachers told me I should watch it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to stick with it, but I don't know. I don't know. It's
too much. It's too much.
It's a lot. It's a lot going on with that show.
Too
A
much.
lot.
I'm like, you know what? I'm like, yeah, I'll stick to the basics. Blue Assassins was enough for me. I was having trouble with now for the end of the season because I'm actually in the last episode. I'm having trouble with all the supernatural parts of it. And I get he has to fight a little bit more people. But the supernatural is starting to get a little bit cheesy. That's a better way to put it. They need a bigger budget. a little bit.
All right.
So.
All right. Going back to my list. Next one I have is Good to See You, Cloud from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I know a lot of people aren't big fans of the Advent Children movie. I happen to like it, especially the complete edition, because it gives you more of the Sephiroth Cloud fight. Like, it was just cool to see not only Cloud and the rest of the Final Fantasy VII cast animated the way they were, but to see Sephiroth animated the way he was. And their fight was just epic. George Newbern voiced Sephiroth in that movie, and I know a lot of people were clamoring for him to come back to voice him in the game. I don't think Tyler Hoechlin is doing that bad of a job as voicing Sephiroth. I don't think he's doing horrible. But I can understand why people want George Newbern to come back. He did voice Superman also in the animated series. But the fact that one of the characters, Kadaj, actually transforms into Sephiroth, and he comes back with that, and that's his opening line. I think that was one of the moments where everybody got amped for the fight that was getting ready to happen. Next one I have is the T-1000 Terminated. I will say this to this day that I think the T-1000 death scene is one of the best villain death scenes in movies.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Is the fact that we thought that the T-800 was done. He rolls back up, hits him with a grenade shell. He explodes, falls into a tank of molten steel, and he's trying his best to try to transform into any form he can think of to try to survive, but it's not working.
Right.
And the music behind it, the whole thing behind it, is probably one of the best death scenes I've seen in movies.
It's fabulous.
Next I got Playtime is Over Boy from The Last Dragon. Now, we spent this whole movie listening to the Shogun of Harlem talk mad trash, try to fight Bruce Leroy at any chance he can get.
Right.
And then it's interesting because, Bruce Leroy didn't get his glow yet. He gets it after, but, we thinking the first round, he showing up, get kicked through a door, and then it's like Bruce Leroy thinks it's over, and then he hears Leroy, and then he turns around and he's gone. And I'm like, what kind of supernatural mess is happening here? And then he turns around, and here we got Shonuff with his own glow. And I'm like, why does he have powers? What is happening here?
And those fingers.
And his fingers, and he's just whooping his ass. And I'm like, this is fantastic. That's why I said there should be a prequel to The Last Dragon centered around Shonuff. See how he got his glow.
I agree.
It should be a lot going on around that, but I don't think people want to touch a lot of black exploitation movies at this point. I think a lot of people are a little scared to touch it. But that'd be a good, honestly, with the graphics we have now, like I said, they can go one of two ways. They can really completely mess it up, or they can do a really good job.
Yeah.
But you need somebody who's gonna write that in the whole 80s kind of vibe.
Yep.
That's probably 70s because he's older.
Yeah.
So it'll be 70s type of vibe.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be that same type of mindset. You're gonna have to get a good writer for that one.
Yeah.
Oh, give it to Quentin.
I mean,
let Quentin Tarantino do it.
You know what? I love Quentin. Here's why I love Quentin Tarantino movies, and I know a lot of people don't like it. I love Quentin Tarantino movies mostly because his movies always have the best music sets in them. It's music is spot on. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm like, there are songs I don't even know until I hear his song, and all of a sudden it's stuck in my head. And every time I see that scene. Every time I hear it, I see that scene. It doesn't matter. It's like I can't unsee that scene, and he makes it so perfect. I love Quentin Tarantino, and he writes like Inglourious Basterds. I know a lot of people don't like that movie.
Inglourious Basterds was actually pretty dope. I ain't gonna lie.
It is a great movie, and a lot of it comes from that music, just the intensity of the music. It's just like you have that, and you're just like, wow, everything fits.
Like,
Like,
if I would give it to Quentin, but he had to collaborate with somebody else.
yeah, he has to mix it with. He's gonna have to get somebody with a little bit more
understanding of that genre.
I'm like,
Right.
if you mix Spike Lee and him together, it'll probably be a match made in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they'd work well together because Spike is like on his own level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but if Spike decided he was gonna go and write something and he wanted to do it, I think they could be a good team. I think they can make it work.
Yeah. Smoke and Mirror says he's always late when we start our streams. Like, if you hit that bell next to the subscribe button, you know exactly when we're gonna go live.
Hit the bell icon so that way you get notifications of brand new content.
Yep.
No, not to point you out though. You're not that late, so you're still pretty good. So you're actually on a little bit on time today. So happy to see you here.
Smoke and Mirrors, welcome.
My next favorite moment. I'm almost done with my list too. My next favorite moment is the magic trick from The Dark Knight. Like that to me, it wasn't even the bank robbery scene at the beginning of the movie. That scene right where with the magic trick just let me know exactly what kind of Joker we were dealing with. Like the fact that he was able to roll up in a whole mob meeting, you know, and they're talking, and Michael J. White's like, "Why shouldn't I have my guy here pull your head off?" And then like I remember first seeing this because I caught it at midnight. I remember, and like when he stuck the pencil in the desk, he said, "I'm going to make this pencil disappear." And then when he grabbed Homeboy and he mushed his face into the pencil, like everybody in the movie theater was like, "Oh!" Everybody in the movie theater was like that. It was like everybody's like either "ooh" or like "yo." I was like, "Yo, what the is going on?" Like, and I'm like, "Where'd the pencil go?" I mean, we obviously knew where the pencil went, but it's like, this Joker is gone. And I'm like, "Yo, this movie is about to be a whole bunch of fun." Like,
yeah, but you know how I feel about Dark Knight.
My next favorite scene is Superman's first fight in Man of Steel. Like, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people have their reservations about Man of Steel. I still think it's one of the best Superman movies we've had.
Man of Steel was brilliant.
I've had debates with people about Man of Steel. Like, people really try to argue with me about the merits of why Man of Steel is bad. I'm like, dude.
Did you get that little horror vibe in that one part when Zod and his crew showed up and everything all of a sudden got dark, and then Clark walks into the house and it's dark and all you hear, "You're not alone."
Yeah.
You are not. Almost gave like a paranormal horror vibe there, right there. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, this is a Superman movie on another level. And I love the fact that they played into the fact that he is an alien.
Yeah.
That he's from Krypton. I love that. The Kryptonian technology was just amazing.
Yeah.
You know?
But like when he finally gets the suit and he's testing out more of his powers, like he's trying to figure out the whole flying thing. And then he doesn't get it at first, but then he finally channels it, and then he's taking off, and it's like he's legit enjoying his flying. And I'm like, for those of you guys who don't know, flying is one of like my top most favorite superpowers. If I had to choose a superpower, it'd be flying, like automatically. That's the only superpower I would choose. It has to be flying. So like when I saw Superman like take flight the first time, and the speed in which he was flying, is like, this is how Superman is supposed to fly. Superman Returns touched on it a little bit. They tried to give us that inclination of what Superman is really supposed to be like. But it kind of fell through as far as the story is concerned. I think Man of Steel finally gave us an idea of what Superman's powers are actually really like, especially in the real world. So that's why that's one of my favorite scenes. Now I'm down to my top two.
I got a question though about your flying question.
Yeah.
So if your number one top pick is flying and you get flying as your superpower, right?
Yeah.
But you still have normal lungs, aren't you gonna pass out as soon as you start flying?
I'm wearing a mask. Okay. And it's funny to bring that up because I think a lot of sci-fi fantasy things don't really touch on that. Like, we've seen plenty of instances where we have characters that can fly. Superman, heroes. Trying to think of what other characters that can fly. Like even the X-Men. Some of the X-Men, like either like Jean Grey or Rogue or even Angel. Like they've never really touched on the whole thing. How does the whole breathing thing work when you're up there in high altitude and stuff? Like I don't know. I don't know if it's just something innate in your body that happens, that mutates if you have the ability to fly. I'm not quite sure. But I'm just going to go with I'll wear a mask if I need to fly. I mean, if the Rocketeer could wear a whole helmet, then I'm pretty sure I can.
Not many superhero movies send humans into space. So are we really going to talk about the science here?
That's true also.
I just asked the question. I just have to ask that particular question because it's like, yeah, I'm like, it's like the same thing as like if I want mine is invisibility. So if I go invisible and I have things in my pocket, what happens? Like,
well, a lot of people that go invisible, like their clothes for some reason go invisible too, right? So
that's I'm like, how? I'm like they're physically on my body, but I technically am the invisible person.
I chalk it up to the Incredibles theory, where it's like whatever what's her name? Violet, whatever she touches, like since it's connected to her, turns invisible also. Okay. I mean, granted, like it doesn't work for a lot of things. Like not until she gets her own suit that allows her to do that. But like, I think Violet's the only instance where if she goes invisible. I don't remember if her clothes turned invisible. No, her clothes didn't turn invisible. At least in the first movie, it didn't turn invisible. Just her.
What? So, Fantastic Four?
No, The Incredibles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah,
and the lady that designed the suits, I think she fixed that situation. I think
Edna Mode, yeah.
That haircut is wild. I want that haircut.
But I also chalked up flying to like how they do it in Dragon Ball Z. Like majority of them create like this aura around them when they're flying. So
it's like aliens in Dragon Ball Z.
Well, humans fly too. Krillin's a human. He flies.
Okay.
So, like, I chalk it up to, like, maybe there's, like, an aura. I've thought about this a great deal. So, I
was reacting to Beauty Beast comment. He said if you want to be invisible, you have to be naked. Sorry.
I mean, we're looking at Sue Storm. I mean, I guess. I mean, the movies did a good job of, explaining that part until she has, like, her actual suit on.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, even in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, when the Invisible Man went invisible, he had to take his clothes off to be completely invisible. So
yeah, so I'm like,
I guess it depends on how you're written. Maybe I guess I don't know. Probably something like that. All right, the next
that just took us for a walk.
Huh?
That just took us for a walk.
All right, so my next one is, I'm down to my last two. My next one is from Infinity War, is when Thor arrives in Wakanda. Like, I think the theater just, like, that was one of the biggest theater pops that happened when Thor dropped down to Wakanda, and then he's running towards the battle, and he jumps in the air and slams down Stormbreaker into the ground. That is the most hype scene I've ever seen in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of my favorite hype scenes. It's like...
No, I think mine was, should have went for the head.
There's that too, but that was more like a frightening type scene when like he said that and it was like and he snapped his ring. It was like everybody's like, "Oh crap, people are gonna die now."
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa."
And then my number one favorite scene in a movie is Avengers Assemble and Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah, that like when everyone starts popping out of portals.
That's on my list too.
Doctor Strange is back, Spider-Man's back, the Guardians are back, Bucky, Wanda, Howard the Duck shows up with a piece, he's trying to pop somebody, I don't know what's going on. I was like, yo, Howard the Duck came with some smoke, I don't know what's happening here. But then when Cap finally calls Avengers and he snaps Mjolnir back and he says assemble, and then Thor lets out the greatest war cry I've ever seen in a movie and they all charge, is a super hype scene. Like Avengers Endgame got that shit off so hard.
Yes.
And that's my list. That's my list.
Agrees.
I'm trying to think what scene. Oh God, there's a scene in that movie. I'm trying to think of the girl's name right now. The one that the other daughter, not the one that's half android. What's her name?
Nebula.
Nebula.
Yeah.
Yeah, when she's literally emotional and being like ripped apart. And I think I nearly cried.
Oh yeah,
that was tough.
I nearly cried.
That was tough.
Getting tortured. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And that's how she had, like, how they had to explain, like, hey, your own father. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on now, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but yeah, I think in that scene, I think I nearly cried. And I cried of course I cried when, what's his name died? When,
Tony?
Yeah, when Tony died. I think I cried.
Yeah.
I think we heard a few people crying in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Oh, please! They were yelping. They were totally yelping when I went, and I was like, "Wow!"
They did that right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did that right because it was a perfect flow. He's like, I have to do it. I'm like,
did you really have to do it?
No, some other people could have did it.
I'm like, come on now, bro.
Scarlet Witch was about to rip him apart. Captain Marvel was like beating him into whatever. Like she plowed through whatever the hell that ship is made of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She plowed through that shit with ease.
Mm-hmm.
I, to a degree, even still like Thor probably could have picked up the gauntlet and snapped. I know he was saying it like when Hulk did. I'm like,
yeah.
Thor is technically a god, so I think he can kind of handle the Infinity Stone's powers there. I don't think he'd be completely burnt up.
But no, let the whole entire human do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I remember like just tears. Like, and it was like involuntary. It was like, what am I doing?
And then also, it wasn't even all that realistic because you saw what it did to Thanos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, Tony could have been burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm like, and you just sitting there like, what in the world were you thinking? Like,
then again, this is Tony Stark, and he probably had like padding or something like that, or some kind of
suit.
Like maybe. That. Those stones were ripping through his suit.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, so
like they were ripping through his actual suit, like they were tearing it apart.
And and then the flashbacks of everything, and oh man, come on now, like you had a whole kid, bro.
Mm-hmm. Like so, we automatically agree it could have been either Thor, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel. Who else are we forgetting? Like those are the three main people that could have picked up the gauntlet and snapped.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess for narrative reasons they chose Tony.
And didn't Captain America, was it that movie that he picked up the hammer?
Yeah, Mjolnir.
Yeah, he picked up I was like, come on now. That was another scene that was like, wait, hold up, what?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Just going back to the comments here, just reading through some of these, Daryl says, Ken and Ryu versus M. Bison in Street Fighter, the animated movie. I mean, he wasn't getting me hyped. I mean, because I played the game, so, you know. Liu Kang versus Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. Yeah, especially when the music hit. Yeah, that was hype as hell. Yes, of course it was.
That was dope. That was dope.
Wonder Woman versus Ares and Wonder Woman. Honestly, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, I really think Wonder Woman should not have fought Ares in the movie. I think they should have saved Ares for a different movie. Like that could have been one movie where Wonder Woman actually kind of loses at the end. Like, not necessarily like loses a fight, but like, you know, like she beats General Ludendorff and stuff like that. But like, and this is coming from a video that I saw a while ago, where they said that Ares should have been had a much more prominent ending in that movie. He should have been like, you know, all this stuff you're trying to do is not going to work. I'm not going to get into it, but I honestly feel like Ares should not have been the person she fought at the end of that movie. They could have saved Ares for like the third movie or something like that. The Avengers fighting Thanos in Avengers Endgame. Yeah, just talked about that. Captain America versus Iron Man. That didn't get me high.
I like that fight too, but it's not about.
It's not
not as much as Endgame.
Yeah, it's not a big hype fight.
They're gonna kiss and make up later.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Josh said she was trying to pick one part in the raid, but it's too hard. You know what? I'll say the raid 2. the kitchen fight in the Raid 2 is the bossest fight I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm not going to get too much into it, but
agree.
Like the kitchen fight was just enough, just even the setup for everything. I still haven't watched The Invisible Man, the new one yet. We haven't watched that yet.
No, we haven't.
I'm waiting for it to be free.
We gotta make that a movie night.
Yeah,
we reached our quota for renting movies.
Yeah, I kind of
which is like one a year.
We rented we rented Bad Boys 5. We rented that. That was worth it. But we need The Invisible Man to be free. I
was gonna do some of those things in my list, but because there were some surprising scenes in there, but I feel like it's too new, so I won't talk about it yet.
Let's see. I didn't get sad when Black Widow died. I mean, it is what it is. Like, you know, honestly, she was the better choice. Because
she was the better choice because he was
Hawkeye has a family.
Yeah, he was self-loathing too. So it was like at that point he needed something to motivate him. So yeah, that needed to happen. When Natasha died, cried.
Josh said that Cap could have done it because of the fast healing. I don't even know, because technically the Hulk has fast healing too, and he is in a whole sling at the end of the movie. So I definitely think it would. I definitely think it would have killed Cap also.
Yeah,
it definitely would have killed him because Cap is still human.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman revealed in Batman v Superman against Doomsday. I'd have been more hyped about that if they didn't give that away in the trailer.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'd have been all the way hyped for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm sitting there saying. I'm like, but we already knew that was coming. It was like
they should have left that alone. I mean, is she with you? I thought she was with you. This shouldn't have showed that at all.
They really could have left that part out. They really could have left that part out. They didn't need that part. They didn't
want to talk about the worst part. The worst part. What was it? Weren't they bonding over their mother's names at one point in time? I think that was the worst part of the movie.
The whole Martha thing?
Like, what?
The Martha thing? Yeah.
I was like, you're bonding over your mom's name. I'm like, he was talking about worst parts. Let's throw that in there. That was the worst part of that movie. That was the worst scene in that movie entirely. I'm sitting there like, okay.
There's so many ways. There are so many ways they could have ended that fight. The Martha thing was not one of them. It really wasn't one of them. They really should have thought a little bit deeper on how to end that fight. There's so many different, literally Lois could have came in a lot sooner. She could have. Lois could have came in a lot sooner and just be like, "No, stop this fighting right now." Like she could have been like, "Listen, Lex Luthor is playing both of y'all. Stop. Knock it off. Stop fighting already."
Yeah.
I finished my list. I don't know who's next. Tani, you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. I'll piggyback off of you and talk about, the final fight scene for Endgame. I feel like that is the most brilliant use of overdone CGI in movies ever.
Yeah.
And I say it that way because I do acknowledge that a lot of that CGI is way overdone. If you ever seen the making of that video, there's literally only 5 people in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
5 actual people. And then the rest is just animation.
Yeah.
And just looking at it as a creative or as an artist, there were just certain things that just stuck out to me, like how they arrived, especially how Spider-Man arrived, how Doctor Strange arrived, and what was the other part where Thanos' people just started raining down all of those, raining down their attack, and then everybody from Doctor Strange's camp basically made umbrellas.
That was cool.
To stop them. And yeah, we have Disney Plus. I probably about once a week put on Endgame and fast forward to that scene so I can watch it. So another one I have is going back to 12-year-old me. Wait, was I 12? Yes, 12, 13-year-old me. The first attack in Independence Day.
Oh my God, how can I forget that? Yes. What the hell? How did I forget that?
It was just, again, watching it now, I pretty much only watch up to that point and then I turn.
Yeah.
But in the theater, watching it with my family, like I said, I was 12, 13 years old. I thought that was just the coolest thing. And especially when Air Force One is taking off and the smoke is like right behind them.
That's my mom's favorite scene. That's my mom's favorite scene for some reason. She likes that scene a lot.
I don't know why I find it hilarious when her coworker, I'm not going to say her profession, but her coworker goes up to the top of the roof to greet the aliens. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, the alternate stripper. I'll say it. the I don't know. I don't know what she was doing, but I mean, we probably all have a friend, all have a coworker who would probably go and see what's going on. Especially since we know, in recent times we had people who were all gung ho about going to Area 51 like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Like the government did not shoot you on sight if you set anywhere set foot anywhere near there. So
there was something about that quiet moment after the attack was done.
Yeah.
And you saw the Statue of Liberty like capsized. And I remember people in the audience were looking like, whoa,
that's one of those scenes that like you were lucky to see in the movie theaters. I never saw Independence Day in the movie theaters. Like I wish I had, just for that scene, just for the destruction scene alone, because everything building up to that is even perfect. Like just everyone's panicking, everyone's trying to figure out what to do, and
it's quick.
It was quick.
It was very quick. It was in the first, like what you want to say, the first 20 minutes of the movie.
No, it's like at around the 40 to 45 minute point, and I only know that because I fast forward to the scene.
Yeah,
Soldier,
there was a lot of build up.
Is that glass bulletproof? No, sir.
Like, I mean, Independence Day researchers tried to capture that, but 20 years too late. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, or at least do something a little bit differently than that. Like, what we got as far as destruction, I thought was all right, but it's like, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
You gotta do something.
I will give Resurgence one thing. That big behind alien that was chasing them was kind of was kind of cool.
You know what? After because when did it come out? Like 2016?
2 years ago.
Really? Resurgence came out 2 years ago?
Or maybe 3 years ago. I don't know.
I could have sworn it was I could have sworn Resurgence was 2016.
I don't know. We've seen so many movies. Like, how long have we even been together?
It came out in 2016.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I don't know. Like, watching it now, it has some redeeming factors. It has some, not a lot, but it has some.
Yeah, I watched it again on TV a couple of weeks or maybe even a couple of months ago, and I said, you know what? I didn't enjoy it that much in the theater, but it wasn't that bad.
It really wasn't that bad. Like, I think a lot of us hyped ourselves up too much because 20 years, all right, let's see what they got. Like I said, like,
and also think about. I think we were having the same expectation as
the first one.
No, not even that. Just in terms of just the anticipation for it. Like, think about Jurassic Park when we were kids and that came out versus when we went to go see Jurassic World. I was not expecting to enjoy Jurassic World as much as I did.
I was expecting to enjoy it. That's one of the movies I was expecting to enjoy.
You know what it was though? They promoted the hell out of Jurassic World.
And it was and the theater was so packed they overbooked the theater.
Resurgence,
they always do that.
Resurgence didn't have the same campaign like the first one did. Like the Independence Day had a hell of a promotion
because they were promoting Will Smith. They weren't even really promoting Independence Day.
Well,
they were promoting Will Smith.
A lot of the issues with, and we were just talking about the comparisons between Jurassic Park and Independence Day. Jurassic Park left an opening for a sequel.
That's the thing.
Independence Day did not.
And it's like what we talked about, because Jurassic Park is still, even after the third one, which wasn't that great, they've still been going strong all these years with Lego games and all this.
Their toys, the games, the rides at Disney. All that stuff is keeping that thing going. That's what makes me worry about Avatar, even though Avatar does have Pandora in Disney World, which looks cool. I want to go.
Look, man, at this point right now, they might as well take a whole another 20 years for Avatar, man, because it's like I'm done waiting. I'm like, y'all.
He's literally trying to do stuff that where the technology doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Wow.
He want whole humans to breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Good Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I was reading because I'm like obsessed with movies like that, with heavy animation and CGI. So I researched them pretty extensively, and they actually said that they have a lot of the main characters. I think there's some kids who are going to be playing like Jake and Siri's kids, and they had to do the training on how to be underwater for about 10 minutes.
Listen, I ain't trying to do all that.
Oh my gosh.
When swimming, I can barely hold my breath for 2 minutes.
I'm not trying to do all that. Like just y'all better CGI that mess like Aquaman and stop playing. Let's go. Chop. Let's go. Come on.
But, what else is on your list, Connie?
Yeah.
This one, the next one, I'm big with superhero action and disaster movies. So the next one was this one wasn't that much action. The scene in Transformers where Optimus Prime introduces himself.
Oh, stop.
You know what?
That's the same. I got the same one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with you on that one. Yeah.
I remember when in the movies, I remember the exact moment. I mean, I remember everything about that day because it was July 4th. It was raining that day, so that means that instead of people going to see fireworks, everybody went to the damn movies.
You know what?
And
I think I might have seen Transformers on July 4th too because it was raining the night I went to go see it.
Exactly. So it was raining. It was raining when we went to go see it. That means the movie theater was packed, and the movie theater I went to was kind of hood, and for people in Jersey Gardens over in Elizabeth. So they oversold their tickets, but it didn't even matter. People sat on the steps. People stood. And like the entire theater just cheered as soon as he said that I'm Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I mean, like, who are you? My name is Optimus Prime. And everybody was like, ah!
Exactly.
It went crazy.
Yeah. And just even more so from that movie, the first car chase scene. I mean, all of them were cool, but it was just something about that first one.
Yeah. They went crazy.
Mm-mm. And then also when Sam talks Michaela into getting in
his car.
Yeah.
The car. Then when you're holding Grey, don't you think back on this moment? Don't you want to say that you had the guts to get into the car?
There you go.
That's basically the message is seize your moment.
There you go.
Unless you die, then that sucks.
Yeah.
But
right.
Well, we already know that Sam apparently could not die in that whole franchise. Like no matter what. Well, you know what? He did die once. He died in Revenge of the Fallen. That's right. But he came back. But everything else after that, he just couldn't die. He was like immortal or immune or stuff like that. I don't know what happened.
It was the power of the Allspark.
A lot of movies I'm pretty good at predicting. Like I'm usually saying that I bet you, and sometimes I'm just being mad sarcastic with it. Like I bet you such and such is about to happen, and then it happens, and I'm like, oh crap, okay. But the one movie that really, really, really threw me off was the reveal in Orphan.
Ooh.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
I thought that was just an evil kid.
Like I remember watching that and just like, I rented it. I was like, what's wrong with this evil ass kid? Like, what is going on? And then the whole like, she's like a whole woman. She's like a whole 34-year-old adult. I'm like, what? Wait, what? What's this? What's happening here? That's a grown woman, like doing this.
And then I was mad at myself because I should have saw that coming, but nope. That one threw me. I think my list was kind of short. I think that's it. I didn't want to write down a list. I wanted to do off the top of my head because I felt like if it didn't come to mind, that means it actually wasn't that important to me.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
I made a really short list. It's really short.
You want to go, Kim? You want to go next?
Yeah, it's super short. It's super short. I know Harold has some good ones. That's why I want to save the best for last.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I have Shawshank Redemption when they find out that Andy actually got out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was gonna put Shawshank Redemption, but when they met up at the end.
Yeah, no. When that scene when he figured out that scene, also the scene where the I forgot his name, the warden found out he was screwed.
Oh yeah.
When he found out he was screwed. Those two scenes. When he found out he was screwed, and Andy had sent his books and all the stuff to the actual to the news and everything else, and he knew he was done.
Mm-hmm.
Those two scenes for me did it. Shutter Island.
I didn't finish that.
Shutter Island in general. I'm
talking about just the whole movie. Just
that whole movie in general, because that movie is such a shock. Because even at the end, you still don't know what's the truth.
Yeah,
right.
I'm like, you got to the end, and you think that he's like, and I don't, for those who haven't finished the movie, but you think that he realizes that he's a patient, but he may realize he's a patient. He may not realize he's a patient. Mm-hmm. And you're like. Mark Ruffalo gets up. He starts walking away, and he looks back, and he says, and the character and DiCaprio says something to him, and he's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
And everybody's reaction is like, "What?" Because it's like you really don't know what happened at the end of that movie. You don't know if he's sane or not sane.
Right.
And that's the whole point of the movie, really, is that they're trying to figure out if he's sane or not. They're going to give him a lobotomy. The others, when they find out that they're ghosts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they finally, after all of the stuff that's going on, they're freaking out, and when they walk in on the seance, you're like, oh. It took me a minute. I didn't understand, especially when the father came home and then disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole mess, but I didn't understand that. The original Psycho. When we found out the mother was dead.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. We found the mother was dead. Gravity. When.
Yes.
I still got to watch that, actually.
You mean when she made it?
Not even. There's a couple of parts, but Kowalski showed up. And she was in her head. The actual initial scene where
I was confused by that for a second. I was like, wait, is he alive? No.
Yeah, no,
right? No, right?
He's like, can't be alive. But no, the initial scene though, when the spaceship gets hit, it is like,
wow.
Yeah.
Dude, man, is out there dancing 1 minute and he's dead the next. I'm like, what just happened? And it came like, and the fact that it's coming back in waves. So every time you see that hit, it comes back in waves. And it's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I think that's what kept the movie intense, but it's like a lot of people don't like it. But I think those two scenes, when the initial hit and then when Kowalski climbs up into that pod and she was hallucinating and we all had to kind of, well, what?
Yeah. I'm always intrigued by actors and actresses who can carry a good portion of the movie by themselves.
Right.
Yes, and she did.
I even gave props to Sanaa Lathan in Alien vs. Predator, and I counted it one time. I think it was not quite an hour and a half, a little between 60 and 90 minutes, where it was just her and the Predator. But I always respect and admire people who can pretty much carry a movie by themselves, where there's like very little dialogue because you're not talking to yourself the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just all facial expression and emotion and all of that stuff.
And you saw that in that movie. You saw the anger, you saw the frustration, you saw the fear. She played every single role.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. I mean, she did a really good job. And I don't understand people don't like it, but I love it.
Because people don't like quote unquote boring stuff.
People don't like to think when they're watching movies.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna be honest here. Like, we're gonna just say it, and then let's just say it. A lot of people don't like to think when they're watching movies.
And why do people like Interstellar?
Like Interstellar, I think I need to watch it again just because sometimes parts of the story jumble together for me, and that's because pretty much timelines do jump all over the place. But I do want to watch that again. But I do remember enjoying it.
I think it's one of those instances where it's like people just kind of understand where Christopher Nolan comes from with his filmmaking, so they're kind of already knowing what to expect when they go in there. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know, but
I have Memento when you figured out it was backwards.
Yeah.
The moment you figured out the movie was played in reverse. The fight with Vivica Fox and Kill Bill.
Yes.
That scene.
You know what? That actually might be the best fight in the whole series. Yeah. I honestly think that's the best fight in the whole movie series. Like her fight with Oren was okay. You know, she didn't really have a fight with Bud because Bud got killed. I do like her fight with her and Daryl Hannah. I like that fight. Mm-hmm. The fight with Bill was, you know, whatever. But
okay.
No, the fight with Vivica Fox, that was the best fight in the whole movie.
And the fact that she killed her in front of her daughter, and I'm like, you turned around, you saw that kid, and you're like, she's sitting there just like.
When I saw that scene, I was like,
come find me when you're an adult.
I was like, damn. You killed her in front of her daughter. Oh, man. Now, just to go off topic a little bit, would you prefer that the original actress come back to play the daughter? Because
I don't think that. I think there's the other people that are good enough to play her now.
I mean, I know Vivica Fox threw out Zendaya. She literally threw her out there. She threw her name out there.
Zendaya would be.
We don't know if the other. We don't know if the other. I don't even know who the other little girl is. So we don't know if she's still acting or what.
I had her name off the top of my head, but I totally forgot what it was. I looked her up when I saw that news. But like,
let's see. You know, let's look up the daughter.
Did I hear correctly that Uma Thurman just has no interest in coming back?
I think her and Quentin had like a falling out or something.
It probably happened because he's very, you know.
Yeah, I think they had like a falling out, but like I don't know.
So it's not going to happen anyway, and you can't recast her.
I mean, then again, I don't know if she's up to the idea for it now. I mean, that was like a while ago, so she could be opened up to it right now. But I highly doubt we'll be seeing that anytime soon. Honestly, I really don't think we'll see that anytime soon. Like, that's something they should have did. I mean, technically now, I mean, because like the little girl was like had to have been like what, 8?
Yeah, she's probably a lot older now.
So it's like you know.
I'm just trying to figure out what her character's name was. Nikita Bell.
Nikki.
Was the character's name, Nikki Bell, and she was played by Ambrosia Kelly.
Yeah.
Who actually looks very, very, very young still, believe it or not.
Yeah, she's still,
She looks very young. She's
24.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Zendaya's how old?
Zendaya.
Probably around the same age. She's playing a high schooler now.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw her age just like 2 seconds ago.
Oh, she's 23.
23.
I would. I mean, sticking with continuity, I would just get the original actress. That's what I would do.
But she's not really the original actress. Isn't like she's been acting really.
She's not even acting, so.
And she was in Kill Bill.
Yeah, she hasn't been in anything since 2012.
Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't look like she's doing much in the way of acting right now. So I don't know how she would be as an adult, as a child, because she didn't have much of a speaking part.
That's true, also.
Right? So we don't know what her acting ability would be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I guess they threw out Zendaya's name. But
would Zendaya be a good fit?
That's what my question is. I don't think so. I think
I'm right with you. I don't really think so either.
I don't know. After seeing Euphoria, like I could see Zendaya's her range. So I think she could possibly pull it off. She's tall.
I mean,
I think she's taller than Vivica Fox. Not saying that adult kids don't grow up to be taller than their parents, because I mean I'm taller than my mom. Yeah. But
I guess it's depending on how they write the character. You know, I think that's pretty much what it comes down to. It's depending on how the character.
The writing.
Yeah.
It's all in the writing.
Yeah, so
that's all.
But I don't know. We'll see it. Well, I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. We don't know that. You know, so.
Nah.
It'd be a long ass time for a volume 3. I'd welcome it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it'd be a hard sell. I mean, I can. It's a lot of whoever it is has to pull a lot of that weight. I can totally see it being a revenge movie based upon her side of it.
Yeah,
right.
They do it that way.
Because then you also got to consider the fact that the bride has her kid with her also. So how's that going to work? Is she going to train the kid? Is she gonna? There's gonna be a battle between the two kids first, and then
I don't think she's gonna train the kid. I think the kid is gonna be separate. I don't think the kid's gonna grow up. I think she's gonna keep him out of it.
That'll probably work.
They'll probably keep the kid out of it. Keep that moving. Maybe we should do a show on one day. Figure out how he would do Kill Bill Volume 3.
That'd be interesting.
That would be a show in itself.
That'd be interesting.
Who he would cast, how he would cast it, and what we would do.
Right.
That'd be interesting, actually.
I'd have to watch I'd have to watch the movies again. It's been a while. I've seen them.
I would have to brush up. I would have to brush up for sure.
All right, I have two. I have a worse movie moment actually. So I have a terrible movie moment. It's the movie moment I fast forward every time I watch a movie or walk away. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh, sorry, not Charlie. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Don't get them confused. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. When the mother starts singing "Cheer Up, Charlie," it drives me crazy.
You know what? I do the same thing. I don't like that part either. I fast forward to that part too. I don't know what it is, but I just can't stand that song. I don't know why, but I have to fast forward through that part.
I cannot stand it. It drives me crazy. I walk away. And the bad part is that even if you hear a little bit of that song, it's stuck in your head.
Yeah.
It's a horrible song.
I can't recall the song.
Good.
Go back. Don't. Once it gets in your head, it doesn't come out for a while.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's like I can't.
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't. That's what it is.
She straight up starts gaslighting her own kid. Like, come on now.
It's like.
And then my last one is the reveal at the end of Now You See Me.
I didn't see that.
Oh,
that's a magician movie, right?
Yes.
I don't know. Yep, I know what you're talking about. Then, yeah.
Yes.
That was a cool one too.
That was the only movie that should have been made. To be honest with you,
I never saw the sequel. I didn't see the sequel.
Don't watch it. It's horrible. But yeah, it's the reveal at the end of that. Let me know. Okay, this makes sense now. But since you didn't see it, I'm not gonna say what the reveal is. But it was pretty good. It was actually not pretty good. It was a really good reveal. But yeah, that's my list. That's what I said. My list was short, so I wasn't trying to hold on to it.
That's a good. That was a short but good list, actually. That was a good one.
All right, Harold, you're up.
Okay. You guys had such good lists. Mine is like really. Okay, here we go.
Hey, if there's any repeats, we'll just talk about it again.
Yeah. All right.
First of all, he's gonna say that, right? He's gonna pull something out that we haven't seen or thought about in 20 years, and we're gonna be like, oh.
Well, I'm gonna start off with the ugly. I'm gonna start off with what I would consider to be the most disturbing scenes to me, and we're talking about like when I first saw them.
Okay.
You know, as a kid, when I very, very first saw them. And this is not in any particular order. When Han Solo was getting tortured in Empire Strikes Back, that hurt my heart. I had to get up and go to the bathroom each and every time because I just didn't want to see Han getting hurt. Like, seeing Luke lose his hand, I was just like appalled. Like, really?
Yes.
Vader
but you know,
you just lost your hand, dude.
But when Vader turned around and said the same thing back to Skywalker,
yes,
he said the same thing back. He taught you well.
Yeah,
because he had the high ground. Come on now. That was the best part about that scene. He had the high ground later on. Perfect. I was like, oh man. He's like, he recognizes the mistake.
You are beaten. It is useless to resist. But that hurt my heart when Luke lost his hand. The Mist. When Thomas Jane killed his family at the end.
God. Look, man.
That hurt.
Look, man.
I have a strong hate for that movie. I really do. My mom loves it. I have a strong hate for that movie just because of that.
Look, man, that whole ending was like, okay, we never need to watch this again. This is just the most right here. This is too much. Why would you do this?
This is like double disturbing for me because when I saw it for the first time in Alien, even though Ash was a robot, that was still gross. You know, I mean, I know that the androids are made up of this water, this white milky thing, but it still looked gross.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
At the same time, the chest burster scene. Oh my god.
Yes. Oh, you just made me think of another one because you said that. Oh.
Which one?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Was it the most recent Alien when we found out that they switched out the two androids?
They switched out the two. Oh yeah, that was. I was like, how did they do that? How?
He switched himself out. Oh my god! And he
switched himself out.
He implanted everybody with the. Like, no.
Yeah.
No. Oh, man.
Die Hard, when John McClane had no choice but to run on the glass.
It's been a minute since I watched Die Hard. Actually,
I've never seen Die Hard.
What?
When
I never watched all of it either.
Hans Gruber and his boys had him cornered, and he told one of his henchmen, shoot the glass. Shot the glass because he realized he realized like real quick that he was barefoot. So he had to run across the glass barefoot in order to avoid, to get cover. That was hard. And then when he fell down on the side of the building with the fire hose, and he was trying to get to the next floor to safety, and he kept kicking the glass with his bloody foot. I was like, oh Jesus, that looked like it hurts. So then he pushed himself away and just started shooting the glass to weaken the glass so that way he can crash through to safety, if you want to call that safety. But, he was able to escape for a moment. But that was hard. Die Hard, running on glass. And the number one most disturbing scene actually was a combination of being disturbing but yet cool at the same time. The mega monster massacre in Cabin of the Woods.
Oh, God, yes.
That's when every monster just killed everybody in their own special way.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was amazingly funny. They just let the elevators go. They were like,
that was it.
That was fun.
Okay. Now for the palate cleanser.
I didn't do any disturbing, but I do say one disturbing one was that after the car accident in Brightburn.
I haven't seen Brightburn either. I'm still holding off on Brightburn. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then I won't go into detail. Yeah. But
don't spoil this.
As a special effects artist, when that shit happened, I was like, oh my god! And then I immediately went to, I wonder how they did that.
I haven't. I'm holding off. So give me a few because I'm.
Why are you holding off?
Because I don't want to pay to rent it right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's still available for rent. That sucks.
Yeah, it's not on any streaming service yet. I just realized that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay, now for the palate cleanser. All the scenes that I thought were pretty cool. Actually, the movie Pacific Rim. When Gypsy Danger really first started doing his thing with the two brothers.
Right.
When it first stepped out and fought Knifehead. And then you had the one sword scene when the kaiju took Gypsy Danger into space, and Rico Kikuchi pressed the sword button and split the monster right in half
that
in
scene
space.
was awesome.
I was like, Oh,
I forget how good that movie actually is.
You know,
Actually, it is pretty good.
Pacific Rim.
But the thing is, you know, what's funny for me is that I'm trying to remember it. That's the bad part about it, is that I've seen it, I've watched it, but it's like one of those movies I don't remember.
I'm not a huge fan of Pacific Rim, but I walked in on Ken watching the second one, and I'm like, wow, this one looks a lot more interesting. I need to go back and watch. I think I'm going to go back and watch it.
Yeah, Pacific Rim was like one of my personal like mega faves. It was like it was that movie that I think it really went up under the radar with a lot of people.
Yeah.
That was modern day giant robot versus kaiju action right there. Guillermo del Toro did that thing. He did it. Okay. Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat, the fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion.
I know you're gonna go there.
That was a
that
fight.
That fight and the fight with Liu Kang and Reptile are the best fights in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know why they're the best fights in the movie?
What?
Robin Shaw choreographed both of those fights. The person who played Liu Kang choreographed both of those fights. But the fight between Scorpion and Johnny, one of my favorite fights. I see exactly what you're talking about. That is one of my favorite fights.
That was a hard one. That was the hard one, man.
Mm-hmm.
I
was watching a lot of behind the scenes of that stuff and how they were filming a lot of that stuff. And they had to go through a lot to get that movie filmed. I didn't realize how much they had to go through.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Oh my
goodness. The very, very first time that we saw Kenjiro use his Fist of the North Star. Yeah. In the Fist of the North Star movie, when he first came back from the dead, when he was walking.
You're talking about the live action movie, right?
No, I'm talking about the anime movie,
okay,
bro.
So
I'm talking about the original anime. Did you see that one?
No.
Oh man, buildings were falling on top of him. He was walking straight through them.
I did see that part though. I've seen that part. I've seen that part on YouTube. I've seen that part.
When he first used those quick punches and everything, I was like, yo, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. In anime, that's probably the coolest thing. I mean, you can have your Kamehamehas all you want to. That was cool. All right, now this right here was not necessarily a scene from a movie. It was a trailer, and it was a trailer that I love so much. It made me go, I gotta see that, and the music just got to my heart. And then I was so disappointed that the music that they used in the trailer they didn't use in the film. And that was the Aquaman trailer. And there was something about that there was something about that music. Dun, 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 dun. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And the music went so well, especially with that first person camera scene when they were going into the water and, you know, you see the beauty of Atlantis and everything. The music went so well with that. I was like, yeah, this is dope. Now, I enjoyed the Aquaman movie, but I just wish that particular track was in it, but it wasn't, unfortunately.
I was surprised at how much I really enjoyed Aquaman.
Yes.
And Shazam for that matter. I was surprised how much I really liked both of them.
Shazam was a sweet movie.
The only reason I watched Aquaman was for one thing, and I actually ended up enjoying the whole thing. So it worked.
All right. Did you hear what she said? Yeah, something trident. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this one is a repeat of what Katanni said earlier. My name is Optimus Prime. That was it. It could have ended that way. No, it couldn't end.
It probably could have actually. It really probably could have. They could have ended. They probably could have ended. They probably could have ended the movie right there, and that'd have been like, okay, you gotta see the rest of it in part 2. All right, go home. See you.
I don't usually. There's very, very rare that there are movies that make me tear up, but the ending of the original Best of the Best.
You know what? I can see. I can see that.
That was like the fighter came to him and walked up to him and was like, I'm truly sorry for the loss of your brother, but I would like to offer myself to you as your brother. And I was like, yo, y'all about to make a brother start balling. Stop. Yo, him in a tissue, boo.
You a mess. I can't.
That was good. Now, the Batman fight scene in BVS in the warehouse.
Yeah.
Somebody did their homework and was looking at the Arkham games.
Yeah.
That was a tight ass fight.
Yeah. Like everything about that was literally ripped from the Arkham game. It really was. Like from the use of the gadgets to everything. Like that's probably the best Batman fight scene we've seen ever. And I'm just talking live action. Like, Michael Keaton's Batman was cool. He was like kind of like a one punch type deal. Like, Val Kilmer, he was okay. They did.
Val Kilmer was a better Clark. No, not better Clark. Sorry, 1 second.
Bruce.
A better Bruce.
Yeah.
A better Bruce than he was a Batman. I'll give him that much.
George Clooney.
Yeah, George Clooney. That was just George Clooney. Let's never talk about him.
He was literally playing him. He was playing himself. He was playing himself as
Yeah. Don't never talk about him again.
Like I said, I just did a super review on the Dark Knight trilogy, and one of the biggest gripes I have with that whole trilogy was the fight choreography. I really could not understand why they gave him a fight style like that. I have no idea why they did that. Like, we're talking about a character who's traveled all over the world, learning various forms of martial arts, and you reduce him to just using elbows and like weird counter strikes and stuff. Like, what the hell? He only did like one kick, and that was in like Batman Begins. That was it. Like, other than that, he's not done nothing else. Like, his fight style was so weird. But no, BVS, the Batman fight scene, that is peak Batman fighting right there.
That was tight, son.
Like, it was exactly what we needed.
Moving right along, this is a repeat. On your left. For let's see, was it
Endgame? Okay.
Endgame. You heard on your left.
Because
I had to think about it. I was like, wait.
Because I was like, are we talking Winter Soldier or are we talking Endgame? Which one are we talking about?
I had to catch it.
Yeah, I confused you there, didn't I? I was like,
I was like, wait, what? Huh? Which movie? What?
Yeah.
And see, of course, when Cap catches Mjolnir, that was that the entire theater just.
Did our theater scream when that happened, or did they just cheer?
I don't even remember.
The place just fell down. Everybody just fell down in the theater when they just went out. They just fell out, man. They were like, yeah, that was dope. I liked the Street Fighter 2 animated film. When I first saw Chun-Li do her rapid fire kick
that fight with her and Vega, top notch fight of the movie. Like, especially when she went for a kick and he did that whole Vanilla Ice Matrix bend back, and then he came back in front. I was like, yo, what is wrong with this guy? This dude is dangerous. Like, what is
that whole fight was dope.
Yeah. I haven't watched that movie in a minute.
Yeah. But hey, listen, go.
I have it.
You might want to go back.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. So I can just watch it. I have it. But yeah, that was a good fight.
The scene that made everybody go crazy in Aliens when she came out with the loader.
Yeah.
And said, "Get away from her, you be."
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yes.
Love that scene.
Yes.
Everybody went crazy.
Yes.
When Bruce Leroy caught the bullet in his teeth.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild. That was wild stuff. I was like, yo, what's going on?
And the music ramped up.
Yeah.
You are the last. It was like, wait, hold on, wait. And then he disappeared. Of course.
Yeah, like he just disappeared like a ninja. Like, huh? But no, that part was wild though. That was wild.
Yeah.
Now my number one. That this was just me, and I'm gonna tell you something. I downloaded the music when I first started really training way back in the day, when I really started trying to work out and get myself together. There was a specific scene, I believe. Let me see if I can remember it. Let me remember the actual movie, because I knew it was a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It was Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And there was a kid that was practicing martial arts.
Oh, yeah.
And the song by Dramarama came on. Anything.
That was a good movie, actually. That was like a pretty cool movie.
that scene, for some reason, that song gets me hyped up. I want to put my headphones on and just start jogging.
Right.
You know, start running. You know, stand in front of a heavy bag and just go, you know, just start fighting and everything. It gets you hyped up. But that's just personally what it did for me. Music has a lot to do with the scenes that makes you feel the scene. So that's my list.
Nice.
I actually thought of two more while we were talking, actually, because it actually reminded me of one. Fifth Element. When the diva came out on the stage and blew everybody's mind.
Oh, yeah.
Like, nobody was expecting that. I don't care anybody has to say. Nobody was expecting for her to start. She starts singing opera and all of a sudden starts. What are you doing?
She started going off. I was like, yo, like, what's going on, man?
There is a video on YouTube of a woman that actually repeated.
I started watching it.
A couple people that did it.
I really feel like The Fifth Element is just definitely one of Luc Besson's underrated movies. It doesn't get a lot of credit. It does, but it doesn't. And it's funny because we watched Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay, but I think it would have been cool if we had like a cameo from any of those characters. Like if we had a Corbin Dallas cameo, Ruby Rod, if somebody cameoed in that movie, I think it would have made it a lot better. Like,
now I have a question.
That movie looked like any of those characters from Fifth Element could have just been there.
Well, because Luc Besson made Valerian, so I was like, why not have some Corbin Dallas up in there? Come on now, let's go. Yeah. But Bruce Willis ain't doing nothing. Like, come on.
But I have a question for you, just to go up top for 1 second. You know that Prince was originally supposed to play Ruby Rod, right?
Really?
Yes, Prince was originally cast for it.
That makes sense.
And Prince actually pulled out because of the outfit that they were going to make him, where he thought it was a little bit too effeminate.
This is what he wears that kind of outfit on a Tuesday. What are you talking about?
Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
What?
Yeah.
Dude be wearing whole dresses.
Didn't he have like assless chaps for like a whole year? Didn't he do this? Like, I'm pretty sure he did that for like a whole year. Like,
but look, could you imagine that movie without Chris Tucker and Prince instead?
They did well with. Yeah,
that would have been interesting. That would have been interesting, but I think Chris Tucker definitely brought a little flair to the Ruby Rod character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, see, certain movies like those is like this was where I think like Prince and or Michael Jackson should have just been like, yo, let me like slide up in here. Like, I could have totally seen Michael Jackson in The Fifth Element. Really?
What he had played?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Somebody. Like, these are the movies that I can see Michael Jackson being in. I can see him being in The Fifth Element. I can see him being.
Could you imagine him playing the president?
Wow.
Actually, I'd have believed it if he were the president. I'd have believed that. I definitely would have believed that.
Oh, come on, guys.
Look, if MJ was still alive, he'd be like Michael Jackson for president.
Well, that video game, if you remember this video game called Space Channel 9, it was you could pretty much, you know, there was a character in there called Space Michael, I think.
Michael was in a lot of games, actually. He was in Space Channel 5. He was in Ready to Rumble.
That was
but he had his own game. He had Moonwalker.
Yeah.
Oh, Moonwalker
Which
was
we still need to get, by the way.
Yeah, we kind of need. But I gotta find that somewhere.
Well, the last time we looked, they were, was after he recently died, so they were selling that game on eBay for like $300. I'm like, y'all wildin'.
I'm about to go on eBay.
You can probably go to the barcade and play it because I find the barcades have them.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not the one. Not the last time I went though.
I know for sure the one in Philly has it.
There should be an emulator, right? Like,
there is a site. Retro Games.
Right.
Retrogames.cc.
Okay, yeah. Like, I don't know why I didn't think about Steam. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Like,
it's just somebody has to have it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go on Steam and check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna go on Steam and check it out.
Now, there's two versions of Moonwalker, by the way. There's an arcade version.
There's the arcade version, and there's a console version.
3 different Michaels.
Genesis, the Genesis version and the arcade version.
I would like to play the arcade version. I've seen it. I've seen like videos of people playing the arcade version. It looked really cool.
I still play high score on arcade version. I'm definitely high. Last time I played, I was high score. I can't help it. I had the Genesis version. I couldn't help it. I got so used to it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think the one level I couldn't pass in the Genesis version might have been the Thriller level. I think that's the only level I couldn't pass. I got pretty far.
Yeah, you had to have skills.
I can't remember.
You had to have skills.
But the second movie I thought about, and I think y'all are gonna know as soon as I say the name of it. Y'all are gonna know the part I'm going for. Full Metal Jacket.
Oh man.
The Pyle freak out moment.
Yeah.
The freak out with Pyle.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in there, Private Pyle, put down that weapon.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I haven't watched that movie in a while, man.
Full Metal Jacket was hard.
Whoa.
That was a hard movie. Hard. For real.
Oh man. I could turn the movie off right after that because right after that I'm like,
yep, it's over. It's over now.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Real quick, just to get to the comments. Josh said Tommy versus Mark in the Room. Look, that whole movie look, The Room.
I just made somebody watch The Room the other day.
Look, that movie, right, man? Listen, man.
I just made somebody watch it, and I was like, okay, now that you watch it, now you got to watch the disaster movie, because the Disaster Artist, just because of the fact that you got to go back and watch how they made it in the first place. I was like, it's too much. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, the Bearded Beast said Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. I think they finally debunked that it wasn't a Christmas movie or something. Did they do that?
I don't think it is a Christmas movie from what I understood. Like I never seen it, but from what I understand is because
it takes place around Christmas.
I'm like, I don't know.
So did Die Hard 2.
Yeah, really.
I'm like, look, I just watch A Christmas Story and call it a day. I watched that on Thanksgiving, so I don't know.
Smoke and Mirrors asks, what movie has the best fight choreography?
That's
Look, man.
It's a lot.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
I would,
maybe
man.
Maybe we should make that another.
Yeah, we'd have to make that a show. We'd literally have to make that a show, like because
our favorite fight scene.
There's so many martial arts movies and fight movies that I've watched in my day, like.
I mean, you know what? I'm always gonna go back to Bruce Lee. I'm always gonna go back to Bruce Lee in every single
there's some fights I've seen that were like super top notch. Like, but you'd have to break it up in a category. You'd have to go like legit martial artists doing these things, like actors performing martial arts, people using special effects for it, like the wire work and all the other stuff. You'd have to like break it up in a category.
Ones.
Yeah, you'd really have to break it up into categories. Like I just recently watched No Retreat, No Surrender. I just recently watched that. I'm not gonna lie, the choreography in that was actually pretty good. The story is ridiculous. It's flimsy as hell, but the choreography, not bad. It really wasn't that bad. I mean, granted, I was watching it on Riff Track, so there's a lot of jokes splicing between, the dialogue and stuff. But, Josh, we are not singing that Fifth Element song. I can't even, man, listen.
Josh, I don't know what's up with Josh and us singing a song every week. I'm like Josh is supposed to sing a song. Last week we had to sing a song. The week before that we wanted to sing a song. Josh, what's up with that? What is happening with you right now?
You want to do like a whole musical medley out here, like we some kind of opera singers? So you gotta stop.
What was the martial art? No, go ahead.
No,
I was going to ask.
Never mind.
Go ahead, Kim. Go ahead, Kim.
Never mind. I'm saying
no. The Aries energy is hot, so one of us has to step aside and allow the other areas to.
No, go ahead. You had a question.
So
go ahead. You had a question. Go ahead.
I was thinking about like what was the name of that martial arts film that featured capoeira?
Only the Strong.
Only the Strong.
Is that the one you're thinking of? With Mark Dacascos? Mark Dacascos is still my guy. That is still my guy. Like, he can do it all. Like, even in his age, he can still do it all. Josh said Space Channel 5 was the best game. I've never played that. I've never played Space Channel 5, but I heard it was really good. Daryl says the sword fight between Christopher Lambert and Mario Van Peebles was in Highlander, the Final Dimension. That was pretty solid. I haven't watched the final. I haven't watched a Highlander movie in a while. It's been years since I watched a Highlander movie.
Yeah.
Smoking Mirror says Michael Jackson wanted to play Professor X in the first X-Men. Look, Michael Jackson wanted all in Marvel. He wanted all up in Marvel. Okay, he wanted to be Spider-Man. He wanted to be. Look,
he was a fan. Michael was a fan.
like he almost bought Marvel like real quick. Like it was that serious. He really bought. He was about to buy Marvel just so he could play Spider-Man.
What is Josh asking us to sing?
The song from The Fifth Element.
Oh, no,
that's what I was gonna say. If you want us to sing that, you want us to get another one copyright banned. Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2, you want us to get sued for hurting people's eardrums. Like, I'm good. I'm good.
The Bearded Beast said Deadpool had good fight scenes, multiple ones. I'll agree. Deadpool has some good fight scenes. Actually, I'll tell you right now, I still like Deadpool 1 over Deadpool 2. Deadpool 2 was cool, but I like the first one more. I don't know why. It's like I just
shout out to TJ Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to TJ Storm because he did a lot of those fights. He did a lot of the mocap, a lot of the fights right there.
Shaolin Soccer choreography was amazing. A lot of people sleep on Stephen Chow. Actually, a lot of people. Like, I haven't seen a whole lot of his movies, but Kung Fu Hustle, Shaolin Soccer, one of the best choreographed movies I've seen in a long time. I definitely give Stephen Chow a lot of credit. Shaolin Soccer is one of my favorite movies. Listen, I ain't seen that Fifth Element song. Y'all need to cut it out.
Oh my goodness! Whoa!
Are you kidding me? Really? No. I'm looking at something that you sent me on the messenger. I'm trying to figure out who that is. That can't be me, is it?
No, it's not you. That's not you.
Okay.
That's not you.
Oh my gosh! All I saw was a goatee, and I was like, wait a minute, did she just put me in a dress? I'm like, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, Bearded Beast said Deadpool 1 is way better. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. The first Deadpool is definitely way better. Like, I enjoyed Deadpool 2, but I laughed more with Deadpool 1. I laughed a lot more with Deadpool 1. Yeah. I don't know.
Maximum effort.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a lot of scenes. Like, you know what it is? Because there's a lot of movie scenes. I think because we're just overwhelmed by some, we just really think about a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? I forgot that there was one on my list. I just remembered it. You're talking about songs, talking about music. Thor Ragnarok, when Thor basically got his groove back.
Oh yeah.
And when he flew back in, the Immigrant song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Now,
yeah.
That's all the singing I'm doing for you, Joss.
Yeah.
No, but even then, when it says the part, I forget which movie it was in. Was that Ragnarok when his sister broke the hammer?
Well,
yeah. She's cute. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, all right. That hurt my feelings, and that's not even mine. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Daryl said Jet Li versus Dolph Lundgren and on The Expendables. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Expendable movies are cool, but I'm not like a super fan of them. Like, I think out of all there's 3 of them, right? Is there 3?
I think there's 3.
Like, I don't even think I've seen the 3rd one. Like, I saw the first one.
The ending makes you want to go hang out with them.
I mean,
the ending.
That's it.
The song, the boys are back in town. When they start to take off in their motorcycles, you kind of like want to jump on the motorcycle and go hang out with them. It's that type of ending.
You know what? I did see all the Expendable movies because I think in the first one, the villain was, who was the villain in the first one? I know Steve Austin was in it. It wasn't Mel Gibson, was it? No, because
welcome, Joss. He said thank you.
I have the Batman.
I don't do requests.
I have the Batman soundtrack, so I remember this Prince song from Batman. Like, I definitely remember the Prince song from Batman. That just goes without saying.
I just thought of another one too, and I think you all will agree with this. Death Note. The first, not Death Note, sorry. Oh gosh, what is the other Death Proof? Goodness, what's wrong with me? Death Proof. The first time he killed the girls in the car when they're hopping, that song, the song that's in there, I cannot unassociate that song with that scene.
Yeah.
Talking about that movie, you see the leg come off, you see her head get bashed in, and they keep playing it over and over and over and over, and you're like, all that.
Oh man, there's a skunk outside and I could smell it.
Oh, it's my favorite smell. I love skunks.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is.
I love the smell of skunk.
And the thing is, in the room that I'm in, the windows are closed and I'm still getting it. What the hell? It must be coming through the air conditioner.
Some people like the smell of gasoline.
I don't mind the smell of gasoline. The smell of a skunk makes me want to chop my nose off.
No, I love that smell. It smells like burnt rubber. It's like, it's fine.
It smells like something. It smells like burnt something, right?
Yeah, it smells like burnt rubber. It's good.
Just don't let it get on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the only thing. When it messes with your skin, it's a totally different smell. When it mixes with your pheromones, it gets a different smell.
I'll tell you right now, by my mom's house, I've seen a great deal of skunks just palling around. Me and Tawny both. And like I'll tell you right now, if I'm walking around that area and I see a skunk passing through, I'm gonna take another 10 minutes to walk back in my mom's house because I am not playing those games. I don't play.
You crossing the street on that black and white skunk? Come on now.
Yes.
Discrimination. That's
yes, I am not playing no games. I don't play no games, man.
I'm just messing with
Then you also have to be careful if they spray your animals.
Yes, because everything, when it mixes with pheromones, it has a different smell to it. I've actually had somebody, when I worked at Target a long time ago, walk in and she had skunk smell. She got sprayed by a skunk and you can smell it. And it was the worst. Wow. Like, you want to talk about somebody being right here and you're working in retail, so you can't say anything. So she's at the cash register and I'm just like,
gotta do the whole Craig from Friday real quick. Gotta be like this.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't know. I like I said, I had a couple of others on my list too. I had like some from like TV shows and like animes and stuff. Like I had.
I thought that was going to be a different show.
It's going to be hold on to that one. Hold on
to that one.
Yeah.
Hold on to that.
Like if that's the case, then I think we're pretty much done. Unless anybody else in the comment section has anything else to add.
Yeah. Who remembers the Prince song from Batman? I remember the Prince song from Batman very well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Prince songs from Batman.
Exactly.
He did the entire track.
Exactly.
You got to be a little bit more specific than that.
Yeah. I think I know which one he's talking about. The one where he's walking into the museum. I'm hoping that's the one he's talking about when he's walking into the museum and he's writing he's drawing all over the
There's
Party Man.
Party Man. There's what is that? Trust? Is that the one where he's with the hot air balloons? Is that what that one is called?
Yeah.
I like that one the most, actually. I think I like that one the best. Yeah,
the future. I've seen the future and it will be. I've seen the future and it works.
Yeah. I haven't watched that Batman movie in a minute. And I own that too. Jeez.
It's kind of funny how much you remember from that. They were cheesy, but they were cheesy in a good way.
Yeah.
They were cheesy in a good way.
Yeah, I think
I was watching
Batman Returns a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "Wow, this was theatrical."
Yep.
Yeah.
The Tim Burton Batman movie was a moment in cinematic history.
Yeah.
It was just like everything was just in it. It was a Tim Burton gothic film. It was Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Batmania, the Batman t-shirts, people getting Batman haircuts, Batman pants, Batman tattoos, everything was Batman. He was finally getting his own film, and then it came out, and it just took the world by storm. It was a beautiful moment. It was an interesting moment in film history.
I never saw Batman in the theaters. I saw Batman Returns in the theaters. That was an interesting experience.
I'm pretty sure I saw Batman in the movies. I mean, I was 6, I think, at the time when it came out, 5 or 6. But my family went to the movies a lot. So I'm pretty sure I saw it in the movies.
I think in the VHS. I think I was VHSing it.
I saw Batman Forever and Batman and Robin in the theaters also. I could tell, even by watching Batman and Robin, I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. This is not working out at all. This is bad. This is so bad.
I don't remember feeling that way.
I didn't mind them. I like it's like, you know, again, I just have this thing about the Dark Knight series. I mean, and you know why I have that thing about the Dark Knight series, but
like
I didn't mind the campiness. I didn't mind anything. Even Batman Begins, I didn't mind.
Something about Batman and Robin is like Batman Forever. Like, I used to watch that a lot after it came out on VHS.
Yeah.
Like, I used to watch it like a lot. Like, I loved Batman Forever. Like, and I still do. I still have a soft spot for Batman Forever. But Batman and Robin, I saw it in the movie there, and I was like, I don't think I really need to go and watch this again.
But you know what's funny? I watch it every time it's on. I don't know why I do it. I watch it.
Yeah, me too.
It's like
I think it came on a couple of weeks ago.
It's like force of habit. I have to watch it. It's like, okay, I have to. It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. I'm like, I can watch this. It's like, I get like the, you know, I don't necessarily care for the movie, but I kind of like it.
It's watchable.
Yeah, it's you know.
It's the colors. It's the music.
It's the comic. It reminds me of the comic books. That's what I think. It reminds me of the comics.
I just think the fact that it got too colorful, I was like, they turned Bane into a mindless brute. I'm like, that's not Bane.
I know that's not Bane.
I don't like this Bane. I don't.
Yeah. They messed up with Bane.
Yeah, but I mean,
like
once I get to Poison Ivy, come on now.
That was just Uma Thurman.
The way Poison Ivy's always been portrayed is like, you know, like I'll give people credit. Like, Poison Ivy's been pretty consistent from the animated series to the movies, like to the animated movies to the video games. She's been pretty consistent.
Yeah,
they kept her pretty consistent.
It kind of balances. So it's like
Mr. Freeze with the ice puns.
Yeah, but that was just bad casting. I'm sorry. The one person that they should have never put in that movie was Schwarzenegger.
Like, and I love Schwarzenegger too. I'm like, nah.
That was one of those people that you should never. I mean, I could deal with one or the other. Like, I couldn't deal with both. I couldn't deal with Jim Carrey, you know, Schwarzenegger mix. I can't deal with. I can't deal with a lot of things.
I was able to deal with Jim Carrey more than I was able to deal with Two-Face.
Yeah,
Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face was like, yeah, this ain't Two-Face.
This is not.
Like,
no.
They needed star power for some reason, or they felt like they needed star power.
Yeah, but the thing is that the casting was just so bad. It was just like, if the casting was better, I think they would have more of an effect on the movie.
I think I would have been okay if they had casted Billy Dee Williams as that Two-Face. I think I would have been okay with it. I wouldn't mind seeing him acting out. I would have been okay with that. See Tommy Lee Jones like that, I'm like, this ain't Tommy Lee Jones.
He was over the top. It was like, it was too much. It was like, he wanted to be the cartoon.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the cartoon. He wanted to be the people that you saw when you saw the 60s series. Yeah. And then he came out, but it wasn't him. It didn't fit.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just one of those things of like, again, you just kind of go with it. But I'm like, definitely, anybody else in the comments? I didn't look.
Just looking through,
Not really.
Josh said the choreography in the original Old Boy. I still have to watch that.
Yes. And you can't watch the new one if you watch the old one. I'm sorry. The new one is trash.
Actually, I don't want to watch the new one until I watch the old one. I don't want to.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to watch the new one, watch the new one. And then go watch the old one. Because if you watch the old one and start watching the new one, you're never going to finish the new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm like, that's bottom line the way it is, you know. The other thing, you know, I was gonna say the other reel that worked out, Train to Busan.
Train to Busan.
Apparently, can watch that without me, so I gotta go watch it at some point.
Well, like I watched it, like I literally watched it like when it first came out. Like when Train to Busan first came out. When did Train to Busan first come out?
I don't know. I remember when it released.
Like as soon as it dropped on Netflix, I was like, let me see what this is about.
I rented that when it dropped digitally. I rented that movie. And
Train to Busan came out in 2016.
It was like, oh my goodness. I was having anxiety attacks watching that movie. So it was triggering me so bad.
I think people kept telling me to check it out because they knew I watched The Walking Dead. So I was like, all right, let me check this thing out. I'm like, I don't feel good. Like, I don't feel good. This, like, a lot of things is happening that is not working out too well. Like,
that's a zombie film on another level.
And then that ending, I was like, okay, I am done with life now.
Yes.
So I got
that was
yes.
Like, I was so done.
That was a hard ending.
Like, I was so done with life after that. And I was like, why? Why would you do this?
Now we got Peninsula coming. Now we have I don't know. I don't even think that's even really a direct. It doesn't even look like a direct sequel.
It's not a direct. It's like 28 days later versus 28 weeks later.
And you know, I couldn't really get into those movies. 28 days later, 28 weeks later, I couldn't really get into them.
What?
I like 28 days later. 28 days later, I like, but 28.
Just look at the look on Kim's face right now.
Like, I don't know. It's like
she's like, what?
I don't know. Like, I enjoyed the first one, but
running zombies. This is the first movie we got zombies that hold it after you. I'm like, this is the first zombie movie that I'm not going to survive a zombie apocalypse. I'm done.
My thing was, like, look, I saw, like, the new version of Dawn of the Dead. Now, the new version of Dawn of the Dead, that had me tripping out when I saw zombies running. I'm like, okay, this is not fun.
Like 28 days later. 28 days later, zombies look up and they're like, like, I'm good. I would not survive. My husband behind is gonna be on the floor. I can't do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If there was a zombie apocalypse with those zombies,
no
I
one's
don't
surviving.
think any of us are going to survive.
I mean, at least not many.
Cardio.
At least not many people in America. Not many people in America surviving. Like in some thinner countries, maybe. Like, but no.
No, I'm not, because I'm sitting here right now. I'm going. Their reaction time is like this. It's not even like a thought process. It's like what the heck? Where did you just come from? I'm like, because like the scene where the dude is sitting in the house and the girl's like, we gotta go, and she's like, what do you mean? All of a sudden these zombies are out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
I would not be able to survive that. I'm like, the benefits, like, they don't come out during the day, thank goodness. But I'm like, the scene in the tunnel where they pop the tire.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm like, that was one of those movies I had a hard time getting through again, because I'm like, I would not be able to survive this. I don't know how you're surviving this. I don't know how you did this. But I can.
You got to ammo up. Get yourself a good car, gas it up.
Josh said, no. Where's everybody going? What's happening?
Kim left. What happened? No.
We
were on.
Yeah. I know Tani said she had to take a call, so that's why she was jumping out. Daryl said Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face was way better. Absolutely. He was way better. Like, I keep telling people, like, he was one of the most underrated portions of The Dark Knight. Like, his take on Harvey Dent Two-Face is phenomenal. Is phenomenal. Like, I really kind of wish they had made him like the villain in the next Batman film. I really wish they hadn't killed him off, but like, like that whole final scene in The Dark Knight makes the movie for me. Honestly, everything else about the movie is great, but that final scene just makes it. Like, the dialogue between Two-Face, Batman, and Gordon, the music is the best part of the scene.
That's
like,
right.
That's like one of my favorite tracks on the album. Like that. I remember the first time I saw The Dark Knight, and I saw that scene. I was tearing up at how good it was. Like, the music behind it and just the dialogue and everything. Like, that is one of the best scenes in the whole Dark Knight franchise. The whole Dark Knight trilogy, that's one of the best scenes in it. Honestly.
Looks like Kim just said that her laptop crashed.
Yeah, I saw. Probably wait for her to come back. If anybody else wants to add anything in the comment section.
Anybody want to add anything?
Sorry, my eyes itching. Josh said the first time she watched Train to Busan, the subtitles didn't work, so she made a script, watched it again, and wasn't too far off. Nice, not bad.
Cool.
Daryl said the scene in Dawn of the Dead that tripped me out was the dead zombie baby. Yeah, that was kind of wild.
Yeah.
That was definitely kind of wild. I was like, yo,
this
is a bit too much here. This is a bit too much here with the dead zombie baby. I don't like that. That's not cool. But I like the new Dawn of the Dead. I saw that in the movie theater. I was like, okay, this is a zombie movie I can get behind. Running zombies, like, yo, these guys are just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've watched so many movies. It's like, and it's crazy part because there's certain instances where like certain movies you have to watch again to get to kind of get that hype moment for you.
Yes. She's back.
Welcome back.
Ow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Kim needs a new laptop.
Yeah. Okay, Bearded Beast just said, will Joaquin Phoenix's Joker make it to a future Batman film? No.
I don't think so. No.
That particular timeline, because we're talking that was a very, very young Bruce Wayne. Now, what could happen is if you saw the end of it, spoiler alert, the Joker had a lot of followers. So you would think that maybe one of the many followers that looked up to the Joker, because he had like basically a cult following him.
Yeah.
And I would say that in the future, like when he grows up to become Batman, then maybe one of Joker's original followers would probably show up. And that's probably the reason why Joker seems to, like, every time when he dies, quote unquote, he comes back, it's probably another person.
Here's the thing that also separates that, because the newer Jokers, if you notice, their smile is cut into their face.
Yes.
Where he was more the blood. So a lot of that has a backstory within itself, how he got cut. Yeah. So
I've even said, I mean, as far as like the movies is concerned, I've even said like I look at like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, Arthur Fleck, I look at him as like Joker Prime.
Yeah.
Like he's like the first incarnation of the Joker. He's not exactly like the clown prince of crime, because technically the only crime he committed was like a murder of some
evil people.
Yeah. Like basically some shitty ass, corporate people. That's it. That's all he did. But
and dude from the show, but that was funny.
Huh? Yeah.
The dude from the show, we told a joke.
And his mom. and his mom too. And his mom.
Yeah.
But like I figure like if anything, at least as far as the movie universe is concerned, like Arthur Fleck is basically the first. He's like the Joker prototype. So like basically any other Joker we get after that, like whether it's Nicholson's Joker, Ledger, Leto, like even the animated Joker, like they're just following after the example that was set by the, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Because you got to remember, if you look at his makeup is a lot different from all the other Jokers that have come about. Yeah. They all have different makeup.
But you know what I would love to see, this will kind of play into like the game version of Joker, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for Joker to be a part of Batman's full subconscious. Because at this point, I don't, not going in the game, but Joker, Joker dies in the game. So literally, he kills Joker in the game, and I would love for him now to become a part of his subconscious, because at that point, Batman doesn't kill.
Right.
So for him to kill somebody, that literally was sitting in the back of his mind for him to go through that evil process in his head of going, okay, I just killed some person. Now how do I deal with this? I would love to see that storyline play out in the Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Because that way we can kind of get away from Joker being the main villain. Because I mean, honestly, I'm tired of seeing Joker. I want to see other villains. Play out. I want to see other villains become a part of this. I want to see Batman play these other villains or fight these other villains while he has Joker in his subconscious telling him all the stuff that he's already done and how he's already evil and how he's just like him and how he's playing into his mind.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. Have Scarecrow involved in that a little bit too, kind of messing him up as well, throwing that mix in there, I would love to see a lot of that. We haven't seen a lot of the characters so far. We haven't seen a lot of the villains.
there's a wide array in Batman's Rogues Gallery that really haven't gotten a lot of play. I'll give Gotham a little bit of credit for like trying to incorporate a lot of them. Granted, a lot of this takes place before he becomes Batman, but like giving us Hugo Strange. Like Hugo Strange is one of those prominent Batman villains that doesn't get like a lot of show. Yep. Like he got a lot in the animated series and stuff, but like we're talking about a character who was able to figure out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and to a degree is trying to become him. So it's like that would make an interesting movie. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see.
That'd be a good one to actually do in that particular sense, because now Batman's already questioning himself.
Yeah.
And on top of it, he's now trying to become Batman.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you also have Anarchy, which a lot of people don't even know who he is outside of the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't played the game, you don't know who Anarchy is at all.
Yeah.
And like he plays a small role in the game. I'm like, that's a child like he's a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a kid. So imagine if it's like you have these people like throwing this out, like a lot of people don't know, and it's like you want to throw these characters out there. Like I said, I want to see more Ra's al Ghul. You know how I feel about him. That is Ra's al Ghul is another one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that backstory. I love that story. That storyline is very deep and intense, and it's so amazing. But we need that, not this little snippet that you're going to put in the Dark Knight. Like I need the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Like even with the Riddler, like I'd really like to see Riddler properly done for him.
Yes.
Like you could literally dedicate a whole movie to just him.
Yeah.
You really could dedicate a whole movie to just the Riddler.
Because people don't think he's and there's a lot of people out there that don't think he is a good villain.
He's like a general threat to Batman. Like he really kind of is though.
A lot of people do not think that he is a good villain. A lot of people look at him and they're like, well, you can't make a movie on him because he doesn't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but depending on how you do it, you can't.
Yeah.
Like, it's depending. Like if you just made a Riddler movie and you just basically made it, this is how he began. It's like an in-between movie. DC needs to get on it. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And an in-between movie, like the beginnings of Riddler or something like that. You just gotta put that out there and just roll with that. Those are things that we need. But they're not thinking that way. They're thinking Joker. They're just throwing Joker at it. I'm tired of seeing Joker. I'm tired of seeing how Birds of Prey was horrible. Usa.
Yeah. Gotta agree with you there.
I am at this point right now. I'm like, okay, we've done Joker enough. Let's move on. We can
give me somebody. I'm like, you did Bane. You did a decent job with Bane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying good job. You did a decent job with Bane. Did Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really time to start dipping into the Rogues Gallery some more. Like,
start put names in a hat that you haven't done before and just stick it out and okay, let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Come
on, just give me something. I'm like,
Josh said if Hugo Strange, Scarecrow, and Mad Hatter teamed up, that would be the illest movie. That would be the illest movie.
Wild. That'd be wild.
That would be. I can picture right now. I can picture Scarecrow hitting Batman with some fear toxin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Him winding up at Arkham Asylum, or hallucinating that he's at Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
And then Hugo Strange doing his work on him, and maybe the Mad Hatter. Like there's so much you can do psychologically with all of that.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with that.
I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, imagine that. Like I say, you just throw that out there. Like I said, just the beginning of you're just gonna make the movie right now. Beginning of the movie, he kills Joker. Joker dies. No more Joker. Turn around, he runs into Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like days later, he runs into Scarecrow not as Batman, but as Bruce.
Bruce Wayne, yeah.
Just as Bruce Wayne. He runs into Batman. He runs into him as Bruce Wayne. Hits him with some toxin as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Now he's already in the back of his mind got the fact that he killed a man. You can't really tell he killed a man because he's not Batman. And now as Bruce Wayne, he's going mad. So,
do you know? I don't think people understand how psychological of a movie that will be. And if we're talking about a character like Batman, who's kind of got a lot of psychological problems. There's so many different avenues they can go. There's so many different avenues they can go with a movie.
That's where they need to go. They don't need to go into this, oh yeah, cool suit, bad gadgets and everything and fighting and stuff like that. I mean, he's way more than that. If anybody's ever
be human. Let him be human.
Yeah.
If anybody ever read a Batman comic book, it's very, very cerebral. Very.
There's really not a lot of action in the comic books. I mean, there are some issues where there's like is all action. There are some, but for the most part,
it's really him going through a lot of mental stuff. And but literally, it's really what it needs. It needs to have a human aspect, and we need to go back to Batman Begins type of thing, where basically go back to the basics. Like I said, as Batman, he kills Joker. He puts on his Batman suit. He puts it up. He's like, I'm done. I'm ready to go because he's getting older. I'm getting old. He puts up his suit. He starts to get, and like I said, walks into that whole situation. Now you got somebody who's trying to be Batman. Trying to step in, and then we have the Mad Hatter on the other side, just playing the fence, just playing the fence, just puppeteering everything. So you literally have a whole movie right there. DC, get on it.
Yep.
Real quick, just to get in the comments, Daryl asked if any of us are getting copies of Joker War. I am. I will be getting the Joker War. I will be picking that series up. I think part 1 just came out. Part 1 of Joker War just came out, so I will be getting that. Because I'm very interested to see where that goes. He also said he wants to see an origin movie with Lady Shiva. Some characters don't need origin movies.
Yeah, no, she doesn't.
Some don't. Some villains don't. Like a villain, we got a Joker movie. We got that. Yeah. I mean, that's because Joker's popular. Like certain villains, we don't need one. Like I wouldn't be adverse to a Deathstroke origin movie, maybe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be adverse to that because Deathstroke is he's like physically, he's like Batman's equivalent. Physically, he's Batman's equivalent. So I'd like to see him like going through all that stuff. Like certain villains, they don't really necessarily need one. John said Birds of Prey was good on current DC movie standards. Like,
no, because like you think about it, what's his face was a DC movie. Aquaman was a DC movie, and that was way better than this.
Birds of Prey was a victim. Birds of Prey was probably a victim of his own hype. I really think, you think about it. You're calling yourself Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Why? Why would you call it that? Why would you add that title to the movie? Like, you could have just really been like Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. You could have just did that. And then...
even then, it's like, again, who really wanted a Harley Quinn movie?
And that's the other thing also.
Right.
That's bottom line what it was. We didn't want it.
And then considering the fact that we have the Harley Quinn animated series, which is hilarious, by the way. It's really funny. Like, honestly, I think a Harley Quinn movie shouldn't have come out until way later. We shouldn't have gotten a Harley Quinn movie now. They could have just, they really could have just kept it at Birds of Prey. Maybe Harley Quinn shows up, but they could have just did that. That probably would have been better. If it was just a Birds of Prey movie, that probably would have been okay.
Right.
We need a real Mr. Freeze origin.
Yes.
We need a real Mr. Freeze.
Yep.
That we need a real Killer Croc.
Yep.
Because those two people are underrated by far. Especially Freeze, because Freeze has, again, a psychological issue.
Yeah.
By
far. And he really, his goal really wasn't to be that bad in the first place.
Yeah, he really doesn't have a vicious goal. It's like, he's trying to save his wife. You could really make a movie around that. You could.
I'm trying to think of anybody else. He said Deadshot already, right?
Daryl said, I want to see a movie with Deathstroke, Batman, and Amanda Waller. I mean, we'll probably eventually get something like that. That's probably still going to happen. Because as far as it stands, Viola Davis ain't done as Amanda Waller. Thank God. And if the Snyder Cut is anything like we hope it is, Deathstroke will probably come back. The Court Smoke and Mirror said the Court of Owls will be dope too. I think we probably should wait a while on the Court of Owls movie. It would be a good movie, but we should wait a while. We should definitely wait a while.
I was about to say, it's
Court of Owls is almost like if I had to put it in phases, that's like a phase 3 type of thing.
That has to be built. It has to be built up to. It has to be one of those things that Marvel did. Like at the end of the movie, you kind of just put that out and say, hey, by the way, this is how we're going to incorporate it.
Right.
It has to be one of those things because it's not necessarily something that a lot of people know about. So you really have to kind of.
Yeah. Daryl asked, "Do you want to see a Batman Beyond movie?" I do now. Years ago, not really. Only because
but the problem is, I really don't want them to do it now.
Like I would wait. Again, that's something like a phase 3 or like an offshoot movie. Like that's
right.
A Batman Beyond movie has to be like an offshoot movie. That has to be like almost similar to what Joker is. That has to be like an Elseworlds movie. Now they could set it up. Like Flashpoint could set it up. The Flashpoint movie could set it up with Michael Keaton coming back as Bruce Wayne. They could set it up that way, but it can't be part of the main continuity. It can't.
Exactly.
No. It has to be an offshoot. It has to be like a offshoot movie. Like it can't be a part of the main DC cinematic universe continuity.
I'm trying to think of anybody else I want. Anybody else. Those are my main ones right now. Like I would really, especially like I said, Freeze. Freeze is my main one because I'm like, we really need a good one, and that's gonna be a hard one to cast because that is a very complicated character.
Like Poison Ivy, I don't think she's established enough for her own movie. She'd have to be partnered with somebody. Like Gotham City Sirens, that's that. Gotham City Sirens, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and Harley Quinn. There you go. That's that. You go. That's what that is.
What about Penguin? What about Penguin?
Penguin. That's interesting because Penguin's almost like a parallel of Bruce Wayne. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
It's a hard one because I don't know if I want to see him again. And then secondly, who else is going to play him? I'm like, you don't have anybody that's short.
Like, the Penguin, that's like, like I don't know if he warrants a whole movie because he's literally like a gangster criminal. That's all he is. He's just a gangster criminal. Yeah. He's not really all that different from Black Mask. It's just that
Black Mask. Yeah.
Yeah, like it'd have to be something like that. Like it'd have to be a movie where like Black Mask and like the Penguin are like competing against each other to kill the Batman. It had to be something like that. That's that's where it could work.
And you throw in some randoms like Calendar Man. And
exactly, like that's where like lesser known like criminals come into play, like Firefly or Calendar Man, Zaz. Those like Jokers, those guys.
You got to throw those lesser knowns in there and kind of just put them out there.
He also said he'd love to see a DC movie with Bronze Tiger and Richard Dragon.
I guess.
Bronze Tiger is one of those characters that works as like a secondary character. He doesn't warrant his own movie. You kind of got to look at the comic book lineup in order to kind of figure out who deserves a movie. Like Red Hood and like the Outsiders, maybe a movie for them. Maybe a movie for them. Like Richard Dragon would work better if he like teamed up with like, I don't know, Batman for like a split second or something like that. Like that could be like an opening scene of a movie where Batman and Bronze Tiger are going to take down Richard Dragon. That's how that would work. Yeah.
So imagine if we were to make another 90s style Batman movie, but make it comical. We're gonna make it 60s, 50s comical. Who are we putting in that movie?
Now, are you talking as far as characters? Who would you put in there?
Yeah, as far as characters, who would we put in there?
King Tut.
King Tut.
Egghead. Let's see.
Condiment King.
Condiment King. Kite Man.
Condiment King.
Kite Man. Mm-hmm. Definitely Kite Man. Kite Man, yeah. Like honestly, I know they put this character in a different direction, but I think Clayface would kind of work in a comedic.
Yeah.
Clayface would kind of work, even though he's
Yeah.
written to be more dramatic. But like,
Right.
Clayface could definitely work. Like, I could, yeah.
I'm just thinking in my mind, like if they wanted to just they wanted to go off the wall and just make a hilarious Batman movie, what would they? Like they have all these they legitimately there's really good characters and there's really funny characters that should never existed, and
you literally have to take like all the lesser known like villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery and throw them in there. That's what you would have to do.
That's pretty much. Yeah.
Real quick, Bearded B said, "What are you guys expecting from Robert Pattinson as the next Batman?"
Nothing.
I gotta see a story. I have to know what the story is, and this is what is contingent on for me. I have to know what the story is about. Like Batman Begins, like I pretty much understood what the story is about, so all I just had to see was how it was written. And Batman Begins is still one of my favorite Batman movies.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson, like I've seen a lot of his other stuff, like aside from Twilight, I've seen a lot of his other stuff. He's a good actor. Like
I don't like Robert Pattinson, to be honest with you. I can't stand him.
Really?
But yeah, I can't. But I'll deal. I have to say this. I didn't expect what we got from the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I'm gonna keep an open mind. But I'm not expecting anything.
Really? That's all we can do at this point. I can't really say what I expect. All I can really hope for is a good story. That's it. That's all I can hope for is a good story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can't just jump on it and be like, "Oh, this is going to suck." No, because we don't know that.
Because essentially, this movie is essentially like going to be like kind of like an extended. Is it going to be like an extended edition of the first half of Batman Begins? Mm-hmm. That's essentially what we're getting. The Batman is like the extended first half of Batman Begins.
Right.
That's what I'm looking at this like. So I can't really say what I expect from Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yeah, not at all.
Not
at all.
Josh said Victor's Ass can run like a normal murder mystery movie, but doesn't do a DCEU tie-in. Still close. Like there's a lot they can do.
That makes sense actually. Now that you think about it, like you basically running like I could see that. Like you running like a murder mystery, everything else, and then at the end of the movie, that's when we realize it's a DCU movie. That actually really would work.
Yeah.
That truly would work. Actually, that would actually, especially if you write it very well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
A very good murder mystery movie, and you tie it in at the end. That would be perfect, actually.
Yeah. There we go. There you go. Perfect.
That is perfect.
Daryl asks, "Would you be up for a Brewster Gold and Blue Beetle movie?" Nah. Nah. I don't think those are two characters that don't warrant their own movie. Not yet. Like, and I believe they have their own comic book titles. I believe Booster Gold has his own comic book title.
But that'd be a good cameo in something.
Basically, yeah. Like
that's basically what it'd be in passing. So whatever they're gonna do,
characters.
Like whatever they're gonna do with that, they're just gonna cameo them, if anything. But I think they should do that more because that's what the Marvel universe used to do.
At this point, right now, DC would probably do better with taking some of his superheroes, some of his characters, and just like dispersing them out in a couple of different movies. Like Booster Gold, I could definitely see him showing up in like a Flash movie in a quick cameo.
There you go.
Blue Beetle, probably show up in like a Green Lantern movie. Maybe that, because his technology is alien, so I could see him like showing up in like very quickly in like a Green Lantern movie or something like that. But Booster Gold, I could definitely see him showing up in a Flash movie because he comes from the future. So I could see that happen. I could see like Flash running past him or something like that. I could see that happening.
But yeah, I think the DCU. I honestly think the DC needs to get together. You have enough content. You have more content and better content to work from, and that they just need to get it together. And I think what they need to do, they really just need to stop and think. Like these are people. Like we're just normal people, and we're just sitting there going, okay, what will happen with this? If we saw this, how would I want to see this?
Yeah.
We're normal people saying this. I'm pitching this to you. Like they should kind of just go, okay, you know what? Let me just Google search half the people that are going on. Let's see what they say. Let's see what these people want to see.
Exactly.
Because
they have to plan this.
Yeah, because like think about it. If you look at the MCU, you look at characters like the Winter Soldier. You look at Wanda. It's just Wanda there. Like her brother's gone. Like, they haven't established mutants yet. You know, the Fantastic Four hasn't been brought in yet. So it's like they had to like throw these characters in somewhere. Like, now DC has, I'd like to say, I mean, like, both Marvel and DC have a pretty well established comic book backlog, but DC definitely has a lot
better.
Yeah, DC has a lot more. DC has better characters. I'm not gonna lie, they do. They have a lot better, especially as far as their villains is concerned. They have a great deal of better villains. Like, honestly speaking, if I had to pick between Ra's al Ghul and Doctor Doom,
Ra's al Ghul.
I'm probably gonna go with Ra's al Ghul. He's not a technological genius like Doctor Doom is, but this guy's been.
He's a genius nonetheless.
He's a military genius. He's practically damn near immortal. He's been around for.
Like, got a cult following.
Exactly.
I'm like, come on now. I'm like, this dude is insane.
So it's like
he's just a way more interesting character than Doctor.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that separates DC from Marvel is like a lot of the characters are written a lot interesting. Don't get me wrong. The characters in Marvel, a lot of them are written very well. Like, again, like I said, Doctor Doom, he's written very well.
They're written for what they're made for.
Exactly the point.
Right.
You know, that's exactly.
DC builds up their characters regardless of villain or hero. It doesn't matter what it is. You're built up. So you're looking at your characters. You can actually. This is why I sympathize with more villains than I do heroes, and that's because of DC Comics. That's because of DC.
Right.
I sympathize with them more because they have a better backstory.
Yep.
I'm like,
you
feel as though you can actually relate to a lot more villains.
Like,
and, you know,
like I remember reading the War of Jokes and Riddles, and they actually gave relevance to Kite Man. Kite Man's a character we haven't heard about in years, and the War of Jokes and Riddles made him like relevant, like to what they did with that story. It's like I don't really see Marvel doing that these days. I don't.
It's about building up the characters they already have, and they're popular characters, and they don't care about their lesser known. I mean, they don't have many lesser knowns, to be honest with you.
There you go, Daryl. Vandal Savage. I would pick him over Doctor Doom. I would pick Vandal Savage over Doctor Doom. He's an immortal caveman. He's seen a lot of things over the years he's been alive. I would definitely pick him over Doctor Doom.
But can you do this with Marvel characters?
And that's the thing. Like, you got to think about it. You got Doctor Doom, Thanos, Galactus, MODOK, Magneto, give or take, depending on what he's feeling that day.
Well, I was about to say that.
Like Magneto flip-flops so much as like you can't even call him a villain. You really can't call Magneto a villain anymore. You really can't.
He's a semi-villain.
He's literally like an anti-hero now.
Yeah.
Magneto's an anti-hero. You can't even call him a villain. Like, I mean, I'm trying to think what other villains. I'm talking about like top tier villains too in Marvel.
Yeah, it's harder to do with Marvel because you don't humanize with them. You don't get to be human with them because they're just titles. And if they don't appear often enough for you to keep seeing them and to keep repeating them, they're harder to see. But when you can humanize a character, even in a game, like you play Arkham Knight or you play Arkham games, how many characters can you remember from the Arkham games? A lot.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lot. And this is because while you're playing that, you get to know those characters.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you legitimately don't understand how much DC has built up their characters so well. They just haven't done very well with them. And
that's the thing.
You need to stop focusing on your heroes and focusing on your villains.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's literally the problem. Like, I think DC, not even just in movies, but in the TV shows, they spend too much time. They're so worried about the hero that the villain gets thrown to the wayside. Think about it.
Right.
Ra's al Ghul.
Is only as good as your villain. You know.
Ra's al Ghul and Arrow didn't feel him at all. Didn't feel him at all. Ra's al Ghul in Gotham kind of dug him. Like, think about it. Like, the only villain they really, really built up, like especially in the Arrowverse, Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Because he always comes back. They built up the Reverse Flash. And even to a degree, Lex Luthor for Supergirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, again, it's the same thing over.
Exactly.
They want to do the Marvel thing. Focus. I'm like, no, focus. DC fans want their villains, and if you get a good villain story, and you get your hero now becomes the focus because your villain story is so good that your hero comes in and now has to fight through all of that nonsense that you just built up. That would make it so much better.
Yeah.
You build up all of that. Like I said, even if you make a Raj Al Ghul movie, how he builds up the relationship with his daughters.
Exactly.
Or granddaughters, yeah. I mean, I have to think about that. How he builds up those relationships. How Batman has to do all this stuff. All this stuff changes, and people don't know that. People don't understand that. Like you have to kind of build this. So if you do that and you build this up and you show this how he has a relationship with a lot of these characters, especially Batman. Now you're talking about Superman, not talking about any other, not even talking. They had some sort of relationship or background or something. Interaction always happens with their villain.
Right.
Like, just do it, please.
Bring on Brainiac. God damn it. Sorry.
Look, man. I've been dying for Brainiac to be part of a movie. Like what they did with him in the Krypton series, I thought was pretty decent. But like, it's time Superman battles somebody that he's gonna have a hard time beating. Brainiac is one of those characters.
Yes.
Like, so I mean, the way I see it, the MCU does the Marvel villain does the Marvel villains justice than what DC does.
Exactly.
Unless it's the Joker. Unless it's the Joker.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, I mean, as much as I love the Joker, I think I'm like one of the many people that I was like, okay, it's time to move on from the Joker now. Batman has so many other different villains that he can deal with now.
It's so much to the point where you're putting him in movies he doesn't even need to be in.
He really doesn't need.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I still wholeheartedly feel that he should have been the main villain in Suicide Squad. I will say that until the end of time. Yeah, the Joker should have been the main villain in Suicide Squad, not the Enchantress. Yeah, that being said, if you were going to use Enchantress, you didn't even need the Joker.
No.
Right. You didn't really need him.
Joker should have never been in that movie. And all it was for what? The Harley Quinn change of heart? So you can build up Birds of Prey.
Exactly.
No.
You could have just alluded to the Joker. That's all you need to do. You could have kept Harley Quinn, just allude to the Joker, and then that's it. And just move on.
There you go.
Like, don't put Joker in the movie if you're not going to use him fully. That's my thing.
There you go.
If you're not going to use him fully, don't put him in there.
I'm like, and then Jared Leto's Joker for me was just like, anyway.
You know. Daryl said, "What about Black Adam?" Black Adam is another one. I hope the movie does well. I really do, because again, Black Adam is another established character that a lot of people don't talk about.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, this guy is he's a king of a kingdom. He's the king of Kahndaq. He's a whole ruler. He's a sovereign ruler who just has the powers of Shazam.
Yep.
Come on. Like, there's a lot you can do with him, and I hope the Black Adam movie really explains that. Like I really hope the Black Adam movie is the step in the right direction for certain villains getting their own origin movie or their own movie in general.
Yeah.
Again, and that's what needs to start happening, and I think we really need to that, because it really needs to focus on the villains.
Yeah.
And that's what Marvel started out when we saw the Marvel movies. You know, you built up Iron Man. Yeah, you built Iron Man up, and you got there. So what's the first thing you saw? You come in chaos. You try to humanize him. Like, you have to, you have to humanize him. He's a jerk. Yeah. I'm sorry, he's a jerk. But you still felt for Iron Man when he died.
Exactly.
It didn't matter. I'm like, you built that character up over time. I'm like, but you also introduced him to different people every single movie.
Right.
For the most part. I'm like, so you kind of have to do that same thing. DC has to do that same thing, but in reverse. They have to put out their villains.
Yeah.
They got to put their villains out. We got to introduce to the younger generation who their villains are, where they came from, what their backgrounds are, because a lot of them are not going to have access to the comics anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So we're not going to have to build them up. And I know you love your movie. You know you love your Superman movie. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you like that movie, I didn't like it, and I'll tell you why. Because I think they just did it wrong. For a Superman movie, I think that they put way too much stuff in one movie. And they tried to stuff all that into the movie because they wanted to build up to a certain point, and they tried to do it too quickly. I think what they should have did is that they should have actually spread that movie out, did it right, and then moved on to the next point. They tried so hard to push him into so many movies and push so much stuff into into that movie. And as not a Superman, I'm not a Superman fan. I'm not. But as a person who's not a Superman fan, I was completely confused walking out of that theater.
I will go on record to say, and I said this before, like, I honestly feel like Batman v Superman should not have been Batman versus Superman. It should have been like a legit Superman sequel.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna copy Marvel, at least do it the right way. Like we at least got 2 Iron Man movies before the Avengers.
Right.
Like,
exactly. And that's exactly what they should have did with Superman. Superman got, and you can agree with me, disagree with me, but I think because you're a fan, you liked it so much. But as a non-fan, looking from the outside in, it was just like you threw way too much information at me at one point in time, and then you threw a fight scene, and I'm like, what?
Like, I will say that Man of Steel could have been constructed better. It could have been constructed better. I didn't mind. At first, I was kind of against the idea of them using General Zod. But at the same time, I was like, you know what? General Zod in the comic book still exists.
Exactly.
He still exists in the comic book. So I was like, you know, if you're going to do like a reboot to the Superman franchise, it's okay to start off with a villain that's just like him.
No.
Okay, I can understand that. But like after that, like we really should have and you know what?
They should have introduced, in my opinion, they should have did what Marvel did. They should have introduced him in that movie, worked him into that movie, but in that next movie made that the conflict.
They could have did that,
the focus. Because that's what happened is that they put too much into this movie. And you're trying to build up Superman for people who don't recognize or don't know the Superman background. And you're putting too much into it, and then you throw that whole fight scene. And the fight scene felt so condensed in comparison to the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Because you were trying to store so much information. So it took away from it. You do that build-up scene. You do that point where he's building up to this. Get there, and then all of a sudden, you know what? That's for the next time. Like, we kind of like get to that point. We don't get to the fight itself. We get to the conflict, everything else. But in that next movie, we're now going to get to the point where we're going to have to build up to get to this fight.
Right.
And how are we going to do this?
Like, I could have seen the first Man of Steel movie ending with like the whole "you're not alone" thing. I could have seen it ending with that. That probably would have been a good way to end it.
Okay.
I think that would have been an interesting way to end that.
Yeah, because this is based. That's what it felt like to me. I felt overwhelmed, and I felt like it was too much information at once. And like I said, I left not knowing anything. I left like I don't remember the movie at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember most of it, but not all of it. And then I watched it again to make myself feel better. No.
Like I'm almost finished with my rewrite of Batman v Superman, so that's going to be done real soon. I'm probably going to finish that up tomorrow, and I'm going to start looking for voice actors for that. So that's going to be done. So when I present that on YouTube, that's going to be interesting. Now,
that was a good idea, Daryl. That is actually a good idea.
Veronica Cale. Now, who is that again?
That was. Let me actually pull up a picture of her really fast. I'll send it to you. Hold on.
Because as far as like human antagonists go, like there's so many they can work with. I mean, they can like Maxwell Lord. You could probably.
I think her name was like Prime Earth. She's like a business. She doubles as a businesswoman. I pulled up her Wikipedia. I'm gonna send it to you right now. Hold on. I have a hard time explaining her. She's kind of a weird character, but she's like her main antagonist. And all right, send it to you on Facebook.
Let's see. So I've heard the name. That part would have been interesting. I think that would have been an interesting Now I remember who she was, because I just watched that. I literally watched the newest animated Wonder Woman movie, and she was one of the main villains in that. I can see that. I could definitely see that happening. That probably would have made more sense. I think we probably could have put, because Maxwell Lord is one of the big time human villains in DC.
Yeah.
Right.
Maxwell Lord, Lex Luthor, they're some of the big time human villains. So we probably could have held off on Maxwell Lord. Like, if it were up to me, if we did the DC Cinematic Universe in phases, I would definitely probably make Lex Luthor like the first villain in the first phase. Like,
in the first phase?
Like, at least leading up to Justice League.
Yeah.
Like I would do that. I would probably put Maxwell Lord maybe in the second phase, depending. See, it's very interesting because there's so much to work with. So, like, I don't know. We'd have to, like, sit down and map this thing out. If we were, like, to really do, like, a legit, like, the DC Cinematic Universe in different phases, if we were literally to do that, we'd, like, have to sit down and legit map it out. Like, it would take a while.
It would take a very long time. By that point, DC had probably got it wrong anyway.
Yeah. So it's like I will agree that starting with Superman was probably the best idea because it's Superman, and as far as it stands, Superman still doesn't get a lot of play.
He gets the worst, and I, like I said, I'm not a fan, but I think he gets the worst end of the stick.
He does. I can wholeheartedly agree that Superman definitely gets the end of the stick as far as like live action is concerned.
And I'll tell you why. Superman is OP as I don't know what.
Yeah.
So it's like there's not much he can't do. So a lot of times Superman, it's hard to make a decent Superman movie because he's so OP. He really doesn't have many people that pose a particular challenge.
Right.
To him. So making a good Superman movie is really it can be boring because you really don't have much he can't do.
And it's funny because growing up, that was kind of one of my biggest gripes with Superman. Like, there's a period, like when I was real young, I loved Superman, but as I got older, I was like, I don't really care for him. Like when Lois and Clark was on TV, I was like, I watched it here and there, but I was like, Superman's boring. Like, I can understand him just standing here with his arms full of like just taking everything. I'm like, dude. And that's probably where like my real direction turned towards Batman, because Batman's like a legit human who had to train to get where he was. But like, I didn't start really appreciating Superman until like the animated series. That's when I started to appreciate Superman again. And Smallville. Smallville kind of did it for me too.
Yeah, but that's the reason why it's hard to make it. It's hard to make it because he's just so OP.
And
so you're putting 2 hours of content together. It really doesn't work unless you make it a really good storyline.
So like, and it's interesting because Superman, he doesn't really have a big rogues gallery. Like, let's think about it. Luthor, Brainiac, Doomsday, Toyman, I guess. Toyman, Mixie, Darkseid, but Darkseid is he's like the whole franchise thing. He's like he's DC's Thanos. Like, actually, he's stronger than Thanos.
I'm actually looking at a list of the villains right now because I look at
Metallo,
Conduit, Parasite.
They have
Parasite,
I'm reading all of them. It said Bizarro, Black Zero, Bloodsport, Brainiac. I don't even know who half the people are. I'm like,
and this would be a perfect time for them to be introduced to the public. Because I guarantee you, there's still a lot of, unless you're like a diehard Superman fan. Thank you. I really think
Lobo has been a
Lobo could be one, but it's one of the things where like I don't think a lot of people like, again, unless you're like a diehard Superman fan, I think the general public is not really aware of Superman's rogues gallery. We know Batman's rogues gallery. We know that up and down, left and right. We know that even know his rogues gallery. Even to a degree, we don't really know Wonder Woman's rogues gallery. Yeah, we have Cheetah, Veronica Cale, Maxwell Lord,
But it's more so, like I said, I can see more Wonder Woman movies. I can see more Batman movies. Superman movies are probably going to be the one thing that we're not going to see a lot of. I think it's going to be one of those, like a Hulk movie. It's going to be one of those one and done movies.
Well, that's what they're. That's what they're. I think that's what they're lobbying right now. That to make like Superman more like a Hulk-like character, where he just shows up in like different movies and stuff, like helps out and then just flies off.
Yeah, like it's too OP. At that point, it's just too much. I'm like, it's legitimately. I think in that point, I think he's just a Hulk character. He's a one and done movie type of person. He can't make any more for him because nobody's going to really pose as much of a challenge. And if they do pose a challenge, you're not going to have a storyline. So it's like you can't. It's a hit or a miss. You can't keep playing the same roles over and over and over again. You can't keep fighting the same.
Then probably what I would do is get into, as like we've talked about the psyche of Batman, I would get into the psyche of this person who's from another planet, who's different from everybody else, and how truly actually how alone he is. And it seems like no matter how much good he does, people still give him the business, and having him trying to fit in to human society and trying to figure out human beings and figure out himself, that he is truly like the last of his kind. I mean,
the Superman.
The problem with Superman doing that is that the issue is that, again, there's no challenge in that. Like, at least with a Batman movie, you can put something in there. Like we just had we laid that out, and we're like, yeah, he's struggling now. He's attacked by this and this.
It's basically one of those things where it's like, is it going to sell?
Yeah, exactly.
Are those type of movies going to sell? Like, if it were a TV show, you can get away with that. This is exactly why Lois and Clark was such a popular series, because it was like Superman and Lois's everyday life. It was that.
Right.
Like,
to have a movie about that, there's no threat, there's no action, there's no nothing. People aren't going to watch that when Superman, kind of mope around or whatever.
Like one of the biggest complaints before Man of Steel was the fact that Superman movies were just kind of boring.
Exactly.
It's like Superman's not fighting anybody. We want to see Superman actually fight. And I can agree with that, because that's probably one of the reasons why I like Man of Steel, because Superman was actually throwing down and actually fighting.
He actually threw down. Yeah.
But the thing is, like I said, it was so condensed in comparison. Like, I think that whole fight scene was like 20 minutes. Out of the entire movie. That's what it felt like.
What you would probably have to do with Superman.
There was a long fight scene.
Like, what you would probably have to do with Superman, like, you'd have to like dip into some like the biggest arcs that Superman has had. And recently, he's had some pretty decent arcs. Like, within like the last 10 years, he's had some pretty decent comic book arcs. Like, that's one of the main reasons why I really wish they hadn't rushed into the death of Superman. I really wish they didn't like blow their load in like Batman v Superman. That was probably the worst mistake Zack Snyder could have made in doing that. That was too early. It wasn't earned. And the whole story itself behind the death and return of Superman is such an iconic storyline that it would have made a great series of movies. It really would have made a great series of movies. Like,
you know what? I think at this point, like I said, even like I said with the Hulk is the same kind of character. But Hulk is very deep, very immense, very alone.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you have that kind of juxtaposition type of thing where you have those two characters. I think in this particular sense, I think those two characters are just going to be that. They're just going to be in and out, up and down. Whenever they show up, it's whenever they show up. I think make appearances here and there, but I think at that point they have other heroes they can work with. You have other heroes you can definitely go. Like you said, you have Flash, you have Arrow, you have all these people that you don't have, that you necessarily don't have movies for, that you can work for. I'm like, there's other heroes that people don't know about either.
Honestly speaking, I wouldn't be upset if we kind of take a break from Batman. I wouldn't be upset at all that. We took a break from Batman movies. Like, and I think people have said this over the years too. Let's focus on these other characters. Let's focus more on Aquaman. Let's focus more on Wonder Woman. Let's focus more on Shazam.
At this point, I don't even think people want Wonder Woman anymore, especially after this new one's coming out. So I think people are like kind of at this point. I think people are more so looking for DC to kind of step up. And that's what the bottom line is. I think DC needs to revamp. I think they need to go in their office, look at it, and say, what are we doing wrong? And stop putting out movies. Like, they need to put out movies about the new characters. Don't get me wrong, but they need to figure out what's wrong first.
Right.
Like, where's your formula doing wrong?
Like, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I really think the movies should have took some cues from the Arrowverse, because for what it's worth, the Arrowverse has a pretty solid foundation with how they put these shows together. Because, like, think about it. They started out with Arrow, who was essentially like the Batman of that universe. And then they brought the Flash on. And then we have Legends of Tomorrow. And then Supergirl came over from CBS and became part of the Arrowverse. And then they gave us Black Lightning. And then we had, what did we get after that? So, like, yeah, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Black Lightning. Now we have Stargirl. We got Stargirl right now, which is a pretty decent show. Then not to mention everything on the DC streaming service: Titans, Swamp Thing.
That they're getting rid of soon, by the way.
Doom Patrol. I mean, it seems like the TV universe has their shit together as opposed to the movie universe. Unlike the MCU, where the MCU has its movie universe together and not their TV universe.
Yeah. But I think me and Harold both have to go.
Let me just go through these comments real quick. Daryl said Bruno Mannheim, Intergang, Toyman, Manchester Black. Superman does have a great deal of villains. It has to be translated. It has to be translatable, and it has to it has to be a story that fits within the narrative. I don't know. Right. I might just start putting together how I would phase the DC cinematic universe, how I would do it, and maybe make that into a video. I'm not sure yet. I'd have to start gathering notes for it. That's probably what I do. I kind of took a break from making content this week, but I'm gonna try to get back to it next week. So maybe this will be one video I decide to do. I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But all that being said, I want to thank all you guys for tuning into our live stream. You guys are the best for constantly coming in week and week out. You guys are awesome now. I know Kim doesn't like me saying this, but I think it's important that I have to tell you as a content creator, please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the bell next to the subscribe button so anytime you go live, you're the first to know. So that way you're not late. That way you're not late to the stream. You know, you can always watch the replay back, but my thing is, if you're first come, first serve, get here, subscribe, hit the subscription, hit the bell so you can get notifications and stuff, and you're in there. Of course, you can definitely follow us on any podcast streaming service you got. All the links are in the description box below. You can find us on Anchor, iTunes, if iTunes is even still a thing. I don't know what Apple's doing these days. Google Podcasts, Spotify, I believe we're on Spotify as well, so you can definitely listen to the audio, when you get a chance. So I'm going to try to, I should have this up, I should have the audio by tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then definitely Saturday. Facebook fan page, Instagram, Discord, we are all there. All the links are in the description box. You can definitely find us there. So definitely please subscribe to all of those. Check us out there. You can find us on our own individual channels, at least me and Harold. I know Kim hasn't started hers yet. What's taking so long?
Nah.
Laziness, that's what's happening.
I'll admit, I haven't even been streaming any of Ghost of Tsushima this week. I did once on Twitch, and I just been playing on my own. That's all.
Yeah, I've been lazy. That's all it is. That's all
that game is that game is a lot of ground to cover. Ghost of Tsushima is a lot to cover. It kind of reminds me of God of War. There's a lot to cover in that game. It really reminds me of God of War. So I'm going to be playing that for a good minute. But you can definitely find us on all those locations. And also, whether it's on our Discord, whether it's in the comment section, whether it's on our Facebook fan page, or whether it's on our Instagram, if there's something you want us to talk about in the next show or in a future show, share with us. If there's something that you want us to talk about specifically, we're open to suggestions. Because I'm going to tell you right now, sometimes it's hard for us to come up with topics. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard. So, if you guys have something that you want us to talk about on the show, definitely feel free to share it with us. We'll
shout you out.
As a matter of fact, what I'll probably start doing, putting up polls and different things on Instagram so you guys can vote on them. So that way, if you're having a hard time trying to figure out what you want us to talk about, we'll probably try to make the decision a little bit easier for you. But If there's something you specifically want us to talk about on the show, please feel free to share it with any one of us, whether it's Harold, Kim, Tani, me, or just our pages. Feel free to share that stuff with us. We will be glad to talk about it on the show. All right? All that. We will be back next week, and I think we'll be covering our best. I think we said we were going to be covering our favorite TV show moments. I think
favorite TV show moments. Yeah.
And,
oh boy.
And I think we could probably couple anime and cartoons, just anything on TV. So sitcoms, anime, TV, regular cartoons, whatever that's on TV. That's going to be under that umbrella. So look out for that show next week. And again, at the meantime, still send your suggestions. Send them our way.
Absolutely.
So we can look through them and decide what we're going to talk about on the next show. All right?
Absolutely.
As always, the council
has spoken.
You're going to say something, Harold?
Yeah, I was going to say has spoken. Okay. I don't know. We're all off.
Okay. No, we had it right that time. So we will catch you guys. Hey, look, man.
There's no energy on this side. I have lost all the energy in my body right now. I want to go lay down.
All right, look, man. It is what it is at this point. But we will catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. We're out.
All right. Bye-bye.
You were watching Council of the Blerds, a geek